never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow.
The past is gone. Now's the future.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Weekly Review, the final weekly review of 2024. We hope each and every one of y'all have a happy and healthy new year. My name is Mike Larkin, and joining me as always are my two homies, my brothers from different mothers, the dead man of RWT himself, Mr. Paul Morales, and my boy, DC, Daniel Crimmins. Gentlemen, welcome.
We're back.
We're back.
He's back. I'll pay you.
I'll pay you. I love you. Squeeze me. Oh, God. So we're gonna be getting into him because, there's a lot to talk about. We had a pay-per-view last night at Worlds and the final pay-per-view of AEW. There's a lot to talk about, but one thing that we didn't talk about that I'd like to start with is a couple things on the WWE side of things. This came out. Lee Fitting. New report reveals that Lee Fitting was dismissed by ESPN in August of 2023 due to misconduct allegations from current and former employees, according to them, making comments objectifying women, criticizing their physical appearance, and making crude jokes, some sexual in nature, in the workplace, which went on unchecked for years. A WWE spokesperson said the company had no comment on the allegations against Fitting, whilst Fitting, through a spokesperson, declined to comment. And now we will get to the allegations themselves that were presented against Mr. Lee Fitting. So here we go. I'm going to read it off to y'all and tell me what y'all think. Here's a list of some of Lee Fitting's alleged misconducts with women. In a production meeting when no chairs were available, Fitting patted his lap and told the woman, "I've got a seat right here for you." He allegedly sent a female ESPN employee a text saying, "You look hot." She showed the text to a producer, visibly shaken. On multiple occasions, he asked female staffers for their hotel room numbers and joked about performing bed checks. He would brag to female employees about his and his wife's sex life to colleagues. He would tell women how to dress and how to do their hair. He made crude remarks about women's outfits, which were seen as humiliating. On one occasion, he loudly exclaimed, "God damn!" upon seeing a woman in a skirt he liked. Women who worked under him said they felt pressure to go get drinks with him and tolerate inappropriate remarks because they didn't want to lose their job. And this is all courtesy of the New York Times and The Athletic. So Lee Fitting, for those who have not seen, producer, executive producer, television producer. You see him in the credits, Paul Levesque and Lee Fitting on Fridays with SmackDown and on Mondays with Raw, and on NXT's with Paul Levesque, Lee Fitting, and Shawn Michaels on the December 23rd edition of Raw. He was not in those credits. This news came out the day of the Netflix Open. We saw at the WWE headquarters, a lot of stuff on the WWE realm. So, Paul, I'll start with you, and then I'll get my boy DC as well. Your thoughts on Lee Fitting and the allegations and everything that came out about Mr. Lee Fitting?
I don't know. He sounds very, very much like Vince, Matt Gaetz, and one soon-to-be president.
Yeah.
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 No.
Oh, I was just gonna get to that. I was gonna say, no. Look, you get found out like this, and you get people to rat on you or tell. And I don't want to say rat. So my bad. You get people to come out against you like this, dude. You're so deserving of everything that comes to you.
Exactly.
Dude, you're trash. I mean, treat women with respect, dog. I mean, that's just me.
I'm right there with you. I think the worst thing I hated to see about this was the people were like, "Oh, but it just happened a year ago. We just made some comments. Derp. Doesn't matter. You should not be speaking to anybody in the workplace like that. Women, men, it doesn't matter. You can't be talking like this. This shit is not okay. So stop acting like, "Oh, well, this happened a year ago. Derp. Now we're making a thing about it, but then the ESPN fired him." Still, people in the WWE workplace don't want to see this stuff. I know he replaced Kevin Dunn, but god dang it, man. Now with this stuff coming out, geez Louise. And that brings me to Daniel Crimmins over there. Daniel, I can see you chomping at the bit. What are your thoughts about Lee Fitting in this whole situation?
You know, I've seen the comments that people made. "Oh, well, how do we know any of this is true? Blah, 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 this, that, and the other." look, with the amount of allegations against him, there's no way this shit isn't true.
Right.
There's no way. I mean, my question is not necessarily the truthfulness. It's to what extent did WWE know?
Apparently, they were aware and they didn't comment about it.
They're at damage control at this point. No pun intended.
No, I think it's true because it's like when this came out on the Netflix day, they're probably like, "Oh shit, we got to do something about this." So they took him out of the credits on the 23rd of Raw.
He's probably gone.
I would hopefully he would be gone after this. My goodness.
At least I'm hoping that he's gone.
I'm hoping he's gone.
I mean, because if he's not, then
that's a bad look.
Then why is it that they're trying to do all these allegations against Vince? If he's not gone, then why is Vince?
How far does The Rock go? And not rock as an ROT. And my whole thing here is, if he's not gone, then this starts to affect Netflix and their bottom line.
Yep.
This starts to affect USA Network and their bottom line.
Very much.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and even just looking at the guy, like, gives me the creeps.
I mean, I've said this with Robert and Nicola, and I'll say it with you, my dear friends. He gives me the Stranger Danger type of vibes looking at this photo. That's literally what reminds me of, like, Stranger Danger type of vibes.
No, he's one of those don't get into that van type of vibes.
This is an episode of Law and Order SVU type vibes.
Man.
Like, I'm telling you, like, this guy just looks evil.
He reminds me a lot of Matt Gaetz. I hate to say it that way, but
no, I'm right there with you. I can definitely
and it's like you're kind of allowing someone like this to be in a company, that makes a lot of money. It's not like it's some off the wall, TNN or Spike T or whatever freaking Great American Country, some Outback freaking no name sandwich cookie freaking network. But still, this guy's out there. He's on a major network. He's working with people in a company that has
a Disney-owned company,
billions of dollars that is making in revenue, and somehow this guy is a part of it. You don't want that.
You don't.
And this is what happens. And Paul, you being a parent, you can attest to this. People like this are what happens when parents don't tell their kids no. That don't hold their kids accountable.
Yep.
Exactly.
So you know what? This guy should be found out.
I think he should be gone. If there's any precedence of this, I think he should definitely be out the door, booted out the door. I mean, you could say what you want about his establishment as far as a producer goes and in television, but still, you got rid of Kevin Dunn. Kevin Dunn walked himself out. I think Lee Fitting can see himself out. You can get somebody else. I mean, you got Triple H and Shawn. You don't really need a Lee Fitting, to be completely honest with you, if you know what I'm saying.
I mean, they can get anybody.
They can.
They can get anybody to come in there and do his job. It's not like you can't.
Right.
Like, you can't go to somebody that works at Netflix and be like, hey, do you have anyone that can,
Exactly.
Yep.
Even the USA Network. You can't go to the USA Network and say, hey, look, do you have somebody that can come in and do what he does? Produce or whatever he was doing. That's just me though. We can all agree and say he's replaceable.
Oh, 1,000%.
Whatever happened to that guy? He used to be a producer years and years ago. John Big Dvorak.
Oh God, he went to TNA and then he was a douche there and he got fired there. He was a douche in WWE and on Tough Enough and he got fired there. He just
I used to know the name, like, Haven't heard his name in ages, so I wasn't even sure if he was even still in the business.
Nah, he's not with TNA because he was a douche. He's not with WWE because he was a douche. So nobody wanted to work with him.
So you're saying he's
Exactly.
a douche?
Hey, he's
maybe he's in AEW. No,
Oh,
I'll pay you.
I'll bet you.
Come on, John. Come on, big.
Look,
Oh boy. But
truth is, scum like this don't need to be in anything, on TV or anything, producing anything, especially with people that are, especially with a company like that, especially with this well known of a company, and TKO has so much under their umbrella. That's something that they don't need. That's the PA that, or the PR that you don't need.
No. And I've got to wonder to what extent does TKO just say, okay, did you know about this?
I think they're
because
definitely.
This is a kind of bullshit that could cost Triple H's job.
Yeah, I think they're definitely. There's going to be. Yeah, Mom, there's going to be an
Stephanie. Bring in Stephanie.
I feel you. I mean, there's going to probably be some internal talk about this, but I mean, time will tell to see what they do about this. So I don't know. I agree with you on Stephanie. Stephanie would be sweet. Stephanie's done creative. Stephanie can be producing.
But as far as Lee,
Jeremy Borash,
Jeremy's doing this thing in NXT. Hell yeah.
You know, you look at anybody that they brought in. Hell, they've brought in so many people. Hell, give TJ a chance.
Matt Bloom. Anybody?
Matt Bloom's another one that could be a producer for you guys. I mean, the list can go on. Shane Helms,
Jason Jordan, Kenny Dykstra.
Yeah, any of them can be a producer for you guys. Hell, Jamie Noble.
For the TV side, absolutely.
Yeah, for the TV side. I mean, you have them.
Abyss, yep. Abyss.
Yeah. And any of them can do his job.
Yep.
It's just a matter of putting somebody in there that you guys trust, and if they can find somebody that they can trust in the back, and I'm pretty sure Triple H obviously trusts all these guys because they're all.
I got it.
They're all there.
I got it.
Oh,
the best possible choice.
Please don't say Shane McMahon. Please don't say Shane McMahon. Please don't say Shane McMahon.
Better. And I gotta see if I can do it right. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman. Okay. True.
Fellow Paul. I agree with that one.
Two Pauls.
P squared. P
squared. There you go.
You know, Stephanie did marry the wrong Paul, as he said.
Yeah, Stephanie. See, that's what happens when you marry the wrong Paul, Stephanie. And I wasn't talking about Heyman.
Oh, all right now, Mr. Paul Morales. Hey, now.
Imagine Heyman in that family. Imagine those holidays.
Oh, man. I do like that. And I think just the entertainment factor keeps heightening as we move on, because also in the WWE this week, you're going to be seeing a lot of pictures coming up. We'll start with it first. CM Punk, who came out and saved Damian Priest in the steel cage match in a shower cap and a towel, and people that specifically the AEW sickos were going at, oh, well, he left AEW for this. And I'm like, it's a house show. He's having fun. Shut the fuck up. You dumbasses.
I guess people can't have fun. I guess Rhea can't be twerking out in the holiday tour.
Goodness. Hey, now I saw that.
Rhea. But perish the thought that Rhea be going out there and start twerking. In front of audience, in front of the families that are there. Ooh.
Dominic Mysterio eating a chicken tender that got thrown at him from the audience during the match.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't have done that just because. Ew.
Yeah. I know.
Like, how do you know if someone didn't take that tender and just drop it on the floor? I mean, this is Madison Square Garden.
You are right. You are correct. You are spot on. They may not have gotten it from the concession stand.
True.
Damn it, Dominic. Like, didn't your dad ever tell you not to do this shit?
No, he was a deadbeat. He wasn't around.
Somebody say salmonella.
Well, actually, no. His dad died back in 2005 because, is he really Eddie's kid?
Rest in peace, Eddie. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Eddie.
Even
Now,
Eddie would have told him, no, don't be doing this.
no, don't
No, cabron, don't be eating that.
don't be eating that chicken.
And
Oh,
just as an aside, can you imagine if Eddie was still alive, what they could have done with the whole Dominic and Ray thing?
oh my God.
Yeah, there's the interview with Chris Van Vliet and Rey Mysterio, and he went into that whole scenario of how similar now that Dominic is and how Eddie was, at one point in time. And of course he joked with, telling his wife, oh my God, they're so much alike. And she goes, okay, well, I did cheat on you with your best friend. I did cheat on you with your best friend. And yeah, he's his kid and da 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 da. And it's like, oh man, she kills me with that one every time. But if you look at it, my God, if he's taking in a lot of what Eddie's mannerisms are, oh my God, the sky's the limit for Dominic. Seriously. As the heel version of Eddie.
Oh yeah.
Because imagine the moment when he goes face and he ends up having that Latino heat on him. Man, that's just going to propel him into another stratosphere.
And I'll just say it. I have never seen someone who was already a heel turn even more heel.
Right, with the whole Liv Morgan situation, yes.
But he was already hated, and yet usually you turn from face to heel or heel. You don't be a face and turn even more face. You're not fucking Hulk Hogan here.
No,
nobody has ever been a heel and then been like, okay, you know what? I am turning even more heel.
I'm gonna be even more of a douche. But yeah, no, that's the elements that go with the house show and the elements to his character and why he's one of the best going today. I mean, we mentioned it earlier. The Final Testament Wyatt 6 feud, friggin' Nikki Cross biting Scarlett on the booty during their 8-person tag.
Took a bite out of crime, though.
Bite out of crime, baby. Oh my goodness. Oh man. But that's the stuff. That's the stuff of the live events that makes them fun. And I will say this. This is what we have to look forward to with the feuds on Raw. We mentioned the character development, but the other character development, I have to say, they're really amping up Kevin Owens with this Winged Eagle title now at the Royal Rumble for both titles, Cody and Kevin in the ladder match, which I'm really looking forward to. Oh my God.
Tell me, is this literally the first legit feud for Cody since his title reign started?
Pretty much legit. I mean, the solo stuff you can make anything with everything that went down there, but this is literally the first legitimate feud with the title. Yes. And in all honesty, I think that this should have been one of the first feuds he had after WrestleMania. Now, I think AJ was good. Yes.
AJ was pretty cool. He had a couple of great matches. Let's not forget Lyon, France. That whole moment, the way that crowd just hyped up that entire main event. But if you look at what it needed, he needed somebody to feud against, not just have a couple little matches like he did with
Logan Paul.
He did with AJ and a couple other with Solo and Logan Paul. But he needed something like this with good heat, good solid heat on him. And it was so needed. Had we got this maybe 4 or 5 months ago, yeah, it probably would have been a whole lot better. But still, if we go back to what Roman Reigns had when he first started, he had Braun Strowman, he had Bryan Danielson, he had Edge, he had Rey Mysterio, he had a couple of little short feuds. Brock Lesnar was another one. Cesaro was another. But I mean, he had little matches here and there with those guys. So it's it wasn't like he had these huge feuds with people in the beginning. So we take it as we get it. So if this is going to be like a long term, maybe year and a half reign for him, at least give him something solid to stand on.
I gotta say it, Mike. It's not to interrupt, but because it fucking pisses me off.
It hit me.
It's been damn near a month, and they're still carrying around a goddamn replica. And people say, well, how do you? It's easy. Take a look at any of the other belts on TV. None of them are that stiff. None of those straps are that stiff. None of them. Because they are real leather. The replicas, it's not. I haven't seen the newer ones, which is what this one is, but you know how they used to be made? It used to be 2 pieces of vinyl, and in the inside of it was cardboard. That's how they used to make the replica straps. They have gotten a lot better than they used to be.
I think.
But
because really what you're paying for is the
plates.
Jewelry on the outside is basically what you're paying for.
So you're telling me that in almost a month, you couldn't have somebody, you can use replica plates. That's fine. But you're telling me that you couldn't find somebody to just make a strap out of leather and just say, hey, can you do this? They could have gone to any other belt guys and had it done in like 2 weeks.
Exactly.
From the visual standpoint, I think it's cool that we've reintroduced this, and also the fact that you could tell we're leading towards Kevin Owens and Randy Orton for WrestleMania, which I'm all here for.
Allegedly. Add to my point.
Okay.
Allegedly, there is a new version of the Winged Eagle that is just about ready. So maybe honestly, personally, I would love to see KO win it, and not KO versus Orton at Mania. Don't want to see that.
Okay.
What I want to see Sami Zayn win the Royal Rumble, and we get KO versus Sami for the WWE title, the Universal title at WrestleMania, and have Sami beat KO. Because to me, who did Kevin beat for his first world title, counting NXT as well? Who did he beat for his first world title?
Sami Zayn.
How appropriate would it be for Sami's first world title on the main roster to be against KO?
Well, that's my thing too, because you look at how perfectly that lines up, but then also at the same time, did you guys see that they're talking? They want to do Cody versus Cena at Mania for the title? That was in one of the reports that they want to do that.
Well, they had also talked about Cena versus Logan Paul.
No, I'm good.
No, but it's. They've also talked about Cena and CM Punk. Look, it's so much of a trickle down. God, I can't wait till January 6th. Really, I can't, because that night is going to be so fucking crazy. And now we got a 3-hour show. Great. I haven't even told my wife yet that it's a 3-hour show.
and you have Liv and Becky, which is now the last woman standing. I live in Rhea. I think Becky's going to get involved.
Or
hit me.
It's Tiffy time.
And she cashes in on.
But no, realistically, I think she's cashing in on Nia.
Oh God! After what happened on SmackDown.
After everything that happens with Nia, you're already creating that story. Don't make it change to her trying to cash in on Liv, because I really don't want Rhea to be the champion right now. I mean, eventually at some point, okay, I like her chasing it, but she's had chance after chance after chance, and I get a rematch. What about everybody else on that damn roster? And right now, it just seems like it's just Rhea and Liv and nobody else.
Let me ask you this. What Andrade is still on SmackDown, right?
Yeah, he's feuding with Shinsuke Nakamura.
I was going to say, because Charlotte Flair is also supposed to be coming back, but she's not going to go on the opposite show of her husband.
Well, that brings me to my point. So my 3 theories of who attacked Jade Cargill: Bianca, Naomi, or Charlotte.
Yeah, but we have to look at it. We have to look at it from the logical standpoint of what makes the story a whole lot better. Yeah, we could probably say it was Naomi out of jealousy. We could also say it was Bianca because Bianca was tired of Jade's crap.
Mhm.
You know, she's tired of trying to train her, trying to make her out to be this star. I mean, now granted, I really don't want Bianca to be a heel, but God, imagine it.
Agreed, but I think
She's so loved. She has that John Cena-esque vibe to her.
agreed.
She has that John Cena-esque feel to her, to where you don't necessarily want to turn her heel, even though she can get that heel energy from like the crowd or heat from the crowd, you know, them being tired of her being a face and, you know, wanting her to turn heel, and she just doesn't. John Cena. But I would love for it to be just Bianca, and then we ended up getting Bianca versus Jade in, you know, at WrestleMania for that, you know. It don't have to be for anything. I just wanted a good match between the two.
Same. Well, but with Naomi, it makes sense because before she walked out, what was the last title that she held? It was the women's tag titles with Sasha. But that would be interesting from that dynamic. What about
you? Naomi is too obvious.
Okay.
You know, I honestly, it seems like the Triple H era, and it hasn't always been like he's not perfect on this. It seems like they're not trying to necessarily go with the obvious choice. I mean, because like you said, Bianca, obvious. Naomi, obvious.
Bailey was an obvious choice too.
Yeah.
Remember, at one point in time, before War Games, remember, everybody kept saying, well, what if it was Bailey, the one that came in to do everything? So that's another woman on the list.
I feel like this is misdirection. Like they're setting us up for something. Because if you remember, before Charlotte went down with injury, she and Jade had that stare off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you've got
but the match she got injured with was with Bianca and Io Sky. So, you know, it could be just wanting her to get back at Bianca for injuring her. You know, again, back to, we have all these scenarios and have all these women on the docket that could be, you know, possible
or there's two dark horse picks.
Okay. Santina
Marella and Harvina Whippleman.
You stop it right now, Daniel Kranz. All right. I'm gonna.
Oh man. Okay. Next. Come on, we gotta get this progressed, man.
No, you know what it is for me. I think the best person to probably ever do a takeout angle now for me, I gotta say, on the NXT side of things, the fact that Eddie Thorpe faked his own injury and his own like who attacked me just to get a title match is probably the most genius thing I've ever seen on NXT. How they set that up was so good. And now that we got Trick Williams, Oba Femi, and Eddie Thorpe this coming Tuesday on NXT at New Year's Evil, I'm here for it. I'm here for Roxanne and Julia. I'm here for all of it.
Nothing is ever going to top I did it for the Rock.
I did it for the people.
Okay. Imagine this. What if Oba and Trick kind of cancel each other out and Eddie Thornton becomes the new NXT champion?
I would love that.
I could see it.
And that would be so fucking crazy. And I could see Sean wanting to do something crazy. And that would be so epic. I'm sorry. I would love to be there to go see that, but God, man, that would be so epic to watch.
Oba's young. He's still in his 20s, right?
24.
Yeah, but so is Eddie Thornton's still a young kid too. So, you know, if you went that route, it just think about it. If you go that route, you kind of cancel out the two that are already vying for this, but you don't give up Oba Femi. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I just said it's kind of like one of those outrageous kind of thoughts that could happen, possible scenario. But really, it's Oba's time.
It is.
And if we don't get it this time, I figure Stand and Deliver is probably going to be the time where we get it.
Here's the question: does Oba have it won, and then Eddie Thorpe steals it? I mean, Eddie Thorpe doesn't need to be champion for too long. Like,
true.
You could easily think about Ciampa's second NXT title reign.
Was not long.
He had what, maybe a month or two?
Yeah.
Month. So I think it was literally like a month and a half.
It was literally like a month and a half, yeah.
So I think what you do
pay-per-view to pay-per-view, I think.
You have Eddie Thorpe steal it and win the title by pinning Trick. Because at this point, Trick is ready for the main roster.
Yeah, but I think with them being on the CW, I see this is the way I'm looking at it. I see Trick pinning Eddie Thorpe, and then that cancels that out, so we can have Trick and Obet stand and deliver, like Paul said. And I mean, the other side of the coin too, I really look at it like this: is you also have a now rejuvenated Ethan Page who stomped the chiclets out of Javon Evans, who lost his smile to Ethan Page. So I mean, there's that angle. There's a lot of progression on the side of how they're building towards stand and deliver from the women and from the men. Like, everything makes sense. The Fraxium storyline that they have now, where they haven't lost the belts, and even though everything was fine, and they wind up.
Oh God, they should have lost them.
I know.
My God, they should have lost them.
Porter catch through Miles Bourne.
I am so pissed off that they didn't lose them, man. I was mad. I was damn near yelling at the TV. I think I messaged you. Telling you what the fuck just happened.
Miles Bourne and Tavian Heights should have they broke out, man. That was one of their best performances.
That was one of their best matches I think I've ever seen them wrestle. So it was awesome.
I mean, the other side of the coin too, and I had two other things with WWE. Omos in Japan is a sight to see. What do you guys think about him in pro wrestling, Noah?
That was beautiful. I thought that him walking through the airport and ducking down, couldn't even stand up straight because everything was so short, and he's this 7'4" giant walking through there, and he's all bending forward. But dude, him being there, I believe. I always seem to do this. I always seem to listen to Busted Open so much that I say Bully Ray is one of the people that I love listening to, because he says shit that I'm thinking too. He needed to go. We look at all the guys that have gone to Pro Wrestling Noah. We look at Shinsuke, we look at AJ, who have gone over there and done stuff, and we look at the NXT guys that have gone over there and done stuff too. Omos, and he said it, would be great to go over there, hone a craft, enjoy the other side of wrestling across the ocean over there in Japan, and learn from them. Learn what they do. Learn that strong style from them, to bring it back and be a different type of wrestler.
Agreed. I mean, I'm for it. I mean, I think just having like the guys like Tavian Heights and Josh Briggs and all those guys go over there, and a lot of them coming over here, really makes a lot of sense for development and overall trajectory and arc of their characters. Dan, what were your thoughts on seeing the sights of that big old Omos in pro wrestling, Noah?
I would, if you had told me 6 months, a year ago that he would be doing that, I would have thought, really?
Yeah, I'm okay with it though. Like,
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it at all.
I don't dig it, actually.
Yeah. I mean, the other side of the thing I need to mention as well with NXT, for this one screaming over here that they didn't win the tag titles. I have to look at it. I have to look at it on the other side of the spectrum, because I have to go to the Heritage Cup. New Heritage Cup champion Lexis King, because that goddamn William Regal turned on Lexis King and he still won because of a DQ. Oh my God.
It was crazy. I love how he had the brass knuckles in his hand and he's trying to hand it to him, and he was like, I don't want these, and went across the damn ring. And then you see Charlie pick him up, and then Lexus is already all knocked the hell out on the damn ground because of one William Regal. And referee, bing, 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 and then who's the Heritage Cup champion? Lexus King. And it's great. It's great. In my view, it's great. DC, tell me what you thought of it, man.
You know what? I am loving me some William Regal. Like, I will say, if you have a list, if there's a list out there of some of the greatest people to have never been WWE champion, William Regal's got to be damn near the top.
Oh, 1,000%.
And you can tell that at this stage in his life, the dude is having so much fun.
And he gets to work with his kid, too, so that's also a plus.
And his kid is starting to look more and more like him.
The facial expressions with Ren Sinclair, the whole nine. Charles, yes.
He doesn't have that pompous ass look as like William had. You know, that British pompous look that they used to that he would come out, you know, one hand behind his back, the other one like this, like walking out like he was just some, you know, pompous royalty or whatever.
I do want to bring up, so Tyler Bate's still out for another 5-6 months, give or take.
Yeah.
Trent Seven's contract with TNA is up.
Yep.
Hear me out.
British strong style.
Bring Trent Seven back to NXT. You have Peter Dunne. You have Charlie Dempsey. Bring in Trent Seven and reform British strong style.
Yep. Mustache Mountain, British strong style coming back together.
You can't tell me that those two guys wouldn't do wonders for Charlie Dempsey.
Oh, I agree. But what they're doing now with Pete Dunne on Raw is he's feuding with R-Truth because I heard you calling me Butch. Stop calling me Butch, R-Truth.
Butch.
Oh, sorry. I'm over here rolling with the mustache. You know, you said Mustache Mountain, man.
But yeah, now we have Pete Dunne and R-Truth feuding on Raw. So I mean that's
it's amazing how as Cody Rhodes has said it, a man that doesn't look like he's aged one damn year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 51 years old and doesn't look like he's older than 26.
Right? It's the fountain of youth.
As one person put it, black don't crack. You know what I'm saying? Black don't crack. And either that man is moisturizing himself in bathing in freaking cocoa butter and, you know, shea butter, freaking lotion. I don't know what the hell that man is doing, but man, he don't age.
Are we sure he's, you know, actually human? Like he's not like a vampire or some shit? Like,
Even Cody said it too. Chris Van, he's gonna be on Chris Van Vliet this week too. By the way, y'all gotta check that out, man, because we've already seen clips, and oh my god,
you got that potato salad, Paul? You got some potato?
Yeah,
salad?
the potato salad. You know, you got that potato salad. You know what I'm saying?
Like, put a world title on him. I don't care which one it is.
I don't care what it is.
I just want a title on that man. That's look. As
he made Brock Lesnar crack.
Okay. As okay as it was to have him as a tag team champion, there just wasn't enough to it. And I don't know if it was just the Miz or whether it was stories that were going on, but man, that man needs a title and a great title run. Ooh, Mr. Money in the Bank. Give me that one. I would love to see him and then try and walk in and cash in on one of the women.
Oh my goodness. That's comedy galore right there.
That would be comedy gold.
Or hear me out. And it would be so fucking random, but I would laugh my fucking ass off if they do it. Picture Royal Rumble. Truth comes down. We've seen him do the ladder spot in the Rumble before. Imagine he climbs the ladder and a Money in the Bank briefcase randomly lowers.
Oh, God.
And he just takes it. Jumps out of the ring, eliminates himself, and the next several months is just him carrying around a briefcase. And it'd be one of those things, it wouldn't work for anybody else, but it would work for him.
You want to know what would be even funnier is if he finds the old Money in the Bank that Tiffy had. And he ends up randomly finding it. And he's like, hey, look, somebody left this here. And just all of a sudden starts walking around with it. And he's all Mr. Money or Miss Money in the Bank. That would be hilarious too.
I got it. Do a WWE warehouse tour with R-Truth. You know, where they store all their, like, have him look at, you know, all the old Money in the Bank briefcases I'm like, look around, like, grab one, open it up. You see a contract still there, and you see him just kind of like.
That would be comedy. I mean, anything with R-Truth we already know is comic gold. I mean, I'm sorry, he called Chad Gable freaking little Kurt Angle that he shrunk. Kurt Angle, you shrunk.
I mean, I'm really enjoying just not only R-Truth, but the direction and trajectory of what we're seeing on these brands. Like I said, it's not only one of the best times for professional wrestling, but everything. But one thing,
Yeah.
like Otis and Chad Gable, that too. But Tucky. But one thing that did stick me out for the WWE before we get to the, you know what we got to get to, because it's been one of those weekends. Logan Paul is now a member of the Raw roster, as we saw in the Netflix premiere in the Open there. And they kind of teased it a little at the headquarters there. Do y'all want to see Gunther and Logan Paul at the Royal Rumble as Gunther's next challenger?
I'm going to tell you why I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to see Gunther fuck him up.
Molly Wop.
Whoop that ass.
Yes.
Forget whoop that trick. I want to see him whoop that ass.
We know Logan Paul's good, but you got to realize he's never been in there with a guy like Gunther.
No, not at all.
Like I
want Gunther. I want Gunther to take him to the damn proverbial woodshed.
Chop them all up right here. Red meat.
Oh my God! I want that chest to look so purple that even freaking Oprah Winfrey would be proud of it.
I like that analogy. I like that a lot. Okay, but
no, I can hear the chops. I'm thinking of when he chopped the soul out of Adam Cole.
That, or when he did it to what's his face, Jack Stars on NXT UK, or
even worse, Sammy Guevara from, I think it was PWG.
Yep, PWG.
Yeah.
Sammy's chest was black for weeks.
No, the one he did against Ricochet. He had Ricochet as an opponent, and I believe it was, oh God, I can't think of the damn name of the promotion, but it was a tournament over in England, and man, Ricochet's chest looked like it looked like railroad tracks up on his chest, like it's several separated, and it looked like you could see the fingerprint imprints on his chest, and it was like cut open and everything. Oh my God.
I think Damian Priest versus Gunther, that they were just kept trying to one up each other on the chops to the point where Gunther was bleeding.
Yep. Well, that's how I think Logan Paul in his right, he can wrestle stiff, but snug. But at the same time, he's going to molly whopper. I'm trying to be nice.
Boy, you're going to die.
He's going to die. If we get Gunther and Logan Paul, he's going to die. But I think
you better have a good plastic surgeon, because he's going to rip your chest apart.
But that's the thing. If you're going for a Gunther face turn trajectory, and I think we are eventually going to get him and Kaiser.
We're already starting.
Oh, well, we've seen the seeds planted with going your own way, Kaiser. You can go your own way, Mr. Ludwig Kaiser.
We're going to get it. We're going to eventually going to get it. And I would like to see it at WrestleMania, but somehow I think what is going to happen, and please God, I know what is going to happen. We're going to end up getting either somebody is going to beat him, but not beat him because of it not fair and square. But I think somebody is going to cost him that title, because it looks like it's what's going to end up happening is that we're going to end up getting CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
And if it starts on January 6th, God, I'm going to be so pissed. I'm going to yell. Hell, I'll even record it for y'all to watch, and we could play it here. But I'm probably gonna scream and shout. But somebody
we got Roman and Solo for the Ulafala. Will we see The Rock? That's going to be very interesting to see how we get to that point. But yeah, the January 6th Raw is stacked, and I'm really looking forward to it, as we've said here many a times. But that's the WWE side, and I can't wait to talk about that next after the new year. But something that did happen that we got to talk about next. We're going toward the trajectory. We're going towards Tony Land. We're going towards Dave Land, because
they'll pay you.
pay you. I love you.
I'll pay you.
Mercedes. Oh, we're going to talk about Mercedes too, because this one commented on a certain post, which he nailed perfectly. And we're going to play that recording. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Paul Morales. I'm talking about you, you son of a bitch. So we're going to go first with a Dave Meltzer tweet before we get to another Tony Khan.
Oh, Grandpa Dave.
So Dave Meltzer said that Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher might be the best pay-per-view opener in the history of pro wrestling. Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher might have been the best opening match on a pay-per-view in history. It's certainly up there. I'm trying to rack my brain to come up with one better. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart from WrestleMania 10. Daniel Bryan versus Triple H from WrestleMania 30. Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio from SummerSlam 2002. I just named you 3.
Oh, that's for some apparent reason, like you.
I just can't rack my brain, man.
Apparently, Dave is just going senile.
Right?
He forgets that there's something outside of AEW. Let's just leave it at that.
I'm right there with you, man. That's I mean, you could even make a case for Royal Rumble 2000, the Hardys and the Dudleys in the tables match. Like, I can make that even case there. Like, I can make TNA when we had, well, the main event we mentioned Unbreakable many a times is Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and Christopher Daniels, but I could even make an apparent of like AJ Styles and Tanahashi was better from Final Resolution 06. Like, we can mention so many of those. Like, there you go. Yeah. But
Tito Santana versus the Executioner, WrestleMania 1. That was an even better match.
That was a very good match. I mean,
just joking. Just all joking aside.
But no, it wasn't a bad match.
It was a bad match. Look, it was horrible.
Okay, I'm going to say this as someone who watched it. It wasn't as bad. I can think of worse. I can definitely think of worse openers than Tito Santana and the Executioner. You're in the ballpark, but it's not that bad. No. I'm not going to disrespect Ariba. I really am not. I'm not going to disrespect Tito like that. I like Tito.
Bad news Brown versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 4. That was pretty awful.
That was awful
because everybody had Bret Hart going over, but of course we had Vince as a
booker.
Vince already had his idea of who he wanted to go over, but we won't go to that one.
Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Ultimo Dragon, WCW Hog Wild.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh, wait a second. We had a Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero opened oh God, I think it was a Starrcade. No.
ECW.
Oh my God, it was a WCW. Oh my God, it was an event. I think it was Starrcade. But oh my God, they freaking tore down the house even before the show started. Even before the show got started with them two, and oh my God, they tore it down because they did everything that they needed to do. Tell me that was a hell of a lot. That this match between Fletcher and freaking Ospreay was better than them.
I mean, I'll do another one with Eddie just because of my Ruthless Aggression era days. Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero from WrestleMania 21 was better than Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. I can make also an extent to as well. When you think of Dean Malenko, you got me thinking of him and Scotty 2 Hotty and probably one of the most underrated light heavyweight championship matches from Backlash in 2000. That one definitely ranks up there. We can. All right, I'll do another one with the Hardys because this one's very underrated as well. Think of Fully Loaded 2000, right? Like, that's a very underrated pay-per-view in its own right. The opening match on that show was the Hardys and Lita against TNA and Trish. And this was one of Trish's first pay-per-view matches wrestling. And that was actually pretty doggone good. So, I mean, there's a lot more.
Okay, so if you go back to WrestleMania 15, we had Hardcore Holly versus Billy Gunn versus Al Snow. Yeah. Hardcore Championship.
Yes.
Now, what happened in that match, those guys just whooped each other's asses, but it was just entertaining as all hell.
Uh-huh.
That I thought was a better opener than this one.
Yeah. I mean, for storyline perspective, because it was funny.
I got one.
Go ahead.
WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho versus William Regal for the Intercontinental title.
I was just going to say that one. Yep. One of the greatest WrestleManias. That was the one that had it. Jericho and Regal. Yep.
Was this a great match? Absolutely, it was. But greatest of all time?
No, not at all. Not at all. The greatest.
The following, and it's funny you mentioned that the following year, WrestleMania 18, it was Rob Van Dam versus William Regal.
Yep.
So I'm trying to understand Dave's perspective on this. I really, really am. I mean, and it mind boggles me that I get it. You're in Tony Khan's fucking ball sack under, licking it, whichever way you possible, to get bonus points for whatever. But dude, come on. Old Grandpa Dave, look, I'm old, but god damn, you got to be senile to not know about those other matches from other companies across the board. Period. Thank you very much.
I'm right there with you because I can think of like so many TNA pay-per-views that I've seen where we've had Ultimate X like started off like friggin' when you had Michael Shane and Chris Sabin and all of them. That one from like NWA TNA 2003. I could even put up there just because I was at Survivor Series 02 since I mentioned SummerSlam 02. I'll take Jeff Hardy and the Dudleys against 3 Minute Warning in the tables match where Jeff, goddammit, and the Dudley boys got reunited over this. And I have no problem with this match because this match was very good, and we'll get to it once we get to the actual card. But Dave, you got to stop with this bullshit of I love AEW. AEW can do no wrong.
And get your lips off of fucking Tony's ass.
Just so people can't say I'm only WWE fan. Wrestle Kingdom 12. The Young Bucks versus Roppongi 3K for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Titles.
Which was a very good match.
Which was an excellent match.
I love me some Show and Yo, and the Young Bucks always kill it. So, yep, I'm right there with you. So, Dave, fuck yourself. But we're going to keep going back to you because...
No, he's got Tony for that.
Oh, he does. Absolutely.
So, we'll go to got Brian Alvarez licking his nutsack, too,
So another big thing that happened, and we're going to talk about this with Dave as well, because Dave cannot flip and help himself. So we will do it like this and like that and like this. So Dave with the ratings. So as we saw, NXT, like we mentioned, we mentioned Trick Williams, Eddie Thorpe, and...
Now you got the song in my head. Thanks.
You're welcome. Trick Williams, Obafemi, and Eddie Thorpe highlight their triple threat match going into New Year's Evil. Roxanne Perez and Julia, Ethan Page and Javon Evans, Stephanie Vaquer and Cora Jade. So they're highlighting a lot of big matches going into this New Year's Evil. That got 723,000 on the CW on Christmas Eve. Dynamite on Christmas got 574K and 0.18 in the demographics. So once again, NXT during the holiday season, to sing like Andy Williams, did more than AEW did. So Dave Meltzer tweeted, and I quote, Dynamite did 574K 0.18, which is very strong for Christmas. Beat everything on cable but the Warriors and Lakers and Christmas specials in the time slot, but we won't have a full chart for a few days.
Yeah, and even It's a Wonderful Life beat it.
Yes, It's a Wonderful Life. The rerun of It's a Wonderful Life beat it. Yes, thank you.
He's not wrong in that it's given that it is a
holiday week.
It is a holiday. It's not a bad rating. It's not a bad rating at all.
No.
I mean, I can't imagine why the fuck you'd be watching wrestling on goddamn Christmas.
But okay.
I have to admit one thing. It was a very good episode of Dynamite.
It was. Absolutely.
And I had no gripes about it because it was at Hammerstein. It was a beautiful setting. A really, really great show. I have to admit, probably I thought it was one of the better shows that they've had in a while.
Very long while. So
that's just in my opinion, but hey.
No, I'm right there with you.
DC, I'm glad you're there with me.
Yeah. in-ring work wise, that's never been an issue for AEW. Like, you have some of the greatest wrestlers around today. I'll admit it, you do. The issue is storylines need work. Your talent is there, like they're there. Y'all know I like to cook. It's like a recipe. You have like all your ingredients. You're just missing something.
Well, it's to a point of what Daniel's saying here, and what I think I agree with you both on, since I did watch the show not on Christmas but the day after. It was a hell of a match, great matches. In-ring work was there, much like you said, Dan. But again, the storylines of just like we're building to Julia Hart and Jamie Hayter, which came out of nowhere, and there's no rhyme or reason for it. That she just attacked her after she returned, and stuff like that for Fight for the Fallen, which we'll get into. But yeah, they need a lot of work with the stories, because a lot of the stuff he's intermingling stuff, and a lot of the stuff doesn't make any doggone sense. That's always been the key issue. Great wrestling, great, but there's more to a presentation of professional wrestling than just the wrestling in itself. And Tony doesn't understand that or get it through his head, which another thing that he can't get through his head, because we're going to go to this, and this ties into everything that we're talking about, folks. Tony Khan reportedly believes that airing the Jack Perry CM Punk video was a key to getting AEW's TV renewal. During the latest episode of Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer and Garrett Gonzalez engaged in a conversation about some of the biggest wrestling stories of 2024. Gonzalez posed a question to Meltzer, asking if he thought Tony Khan, in retrospect, might have had second thoughts about airing the altercation between CM Punk and Jack Perry on television. Meltzer provided insight into Khan's perspective, stating, "I have discussed this with him. You have no idea how much," and we will always say the same thing, that he believes that was a key to getting that deal. So I will tell you, in every discussion, there's not even a thought in his mind that he made a mistake there. Meltzer further elaborated on Khan's rationale, explaining that the incident played a pivotal role in securing AEW's new TV deal. If it helped making the deal, then he's right, Meltzer acknowledged. However, he also expressed his own reservations, stating, "But I, certainly didn't think long-term it was the right thing, even though, yes, it didn't help make Jack Perry a star. I just didn't think it was positive for the company in the big picture."
Can I take this one first?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
That's what she said. Anyway. No, we all know why Tony Khan aired it, the real fucking reason. And it wasn't getting the goddamn TV deal. That had nothing to do with it. Shut up.
Shut up.
What did it? The reason he aired it was because his feelings got hurt by Phil Brooks going on to Ariel Helwani's show and talking about what happened.
Yep.
His feelings got hurt.
Way hurt, man.
That petulant man-child got his feelings hurt. And honestly, I rewatched that clip. It didn't show anything.
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
No?
Like, what it showed was that Punk was right. Like, Jack Perry started it.
He did. 1,000%.
And you know what? If that is true, if that footage is what caused AEW to get their TV deal, maybe you should call up Phil and thank him.
Oh, why can't we?
Because that is exactly what he is saying, is by airing that footage, he got his TV deal, means you couldn't get your TV deal without CM Punk.
Yep, exactly. And now the network was probably thinking, "Oh, we're going to have this guy." No, we're not. He's on the other show. Because Tony's an idiot, and he made him walk out the door.
I was legitimately in fear for my life.
Fuck off.
Yeah, because all Phil told him was to go fuck himself.
And I quit.
That he was a fucking joke.
And I
quit.
He
was in fear for his life. And Samoa Joe was fucking standing there telling, calming him down and took him out. Okay. Ooh, you were in fear for your life. I'm sorry, but if you were in fear for your life, then Samoa Joe probably would have whooped your ass before Phil did.
If you were in fear for your life, and if you honestly thought that CM Punk was going to attack you, or that he did, because you remember when this went down, there was reports that Punk lunged at him.
Nope.
You remember reading those reports?
Yep.
then why the fuck didn't you press charges?
Exactly.
Yeah. And the fact is, he didn't even lunge at him. Friggin' Jack Perry put his hair up to square up, and he went, and then Punk got him in a guillotine. So who really lunged at who? So shut the fuck up.
He's like any girl that that's gonna get into a fight. What do women do? They wrap their hair up in a freaking bun, and they go at it. I'm sorry, but that's just what Jack Perry did. He wrapped his hair up, acting like he was gonna be a bitch, and try to go out there and try to square up against Phil. And what did Phil do? Phil ended up freaking choking him. And that's all that happened.
And now he's making more money.
Yes. Well, Jungle Douche is just being an asshole.
Yeah, but look, we'll go back to what you said, DC. I'm gonna emphasize on it, and for as many times, week after week after week, that we continue to emphasize this. The issue with AEW, the stories aren't there. There aren't enough storylines that are credible storylines for anybody. There is no development or continuation or progress for any of the characters that are there. You're just stagnant. You're all over the place. And I'm going to continue this. Shout out to Denise and Righteous Reg. I've said this before. It's the continuation of what AEW doesn't do. Yes. Are there a few stories here and there? Yes. Are they okay? Yes. Is the wrestling great? Yes. There is very good wrestlers that are there. And yes, they go out and shell out and do really perform really great absolutely in the ring. That's not the issue. We are in a time and era which started way before WWE, WWF started this. We're talking about WWF. We're talking about stories that started way back in the 60s and 70s. This isn't anything new. There are stories that begin and end. It is progression of what every company does. It doesn't matter where it's NWA back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, WCW, TNA. It doesn't matter what company it is. Yes, is it done different in Japan? Of course it is. You don't have the same weekly shows as here as you do or there as you do here. Here you have weekly shows that tell stories, progress stories, and over there it's just events that happened. That's the difference.
I'll make a point here, regarding the whole incident. The biggest mistake with all of that Tony Khan made was not booking CM Punk and FTR versus the Elite when you had the fucking chance. Punk was willing to do it. Kenny Omega was willing to do it. FTR was willing to do it. But who threw a bitch fit?
Young Bucks.
The Bucks. They didn't want to do it. So they went to Tony Khan and said, we're not doing it.
And Tony said, okay.
Sorry. You're the boss, Tony. Or maybe they have creative control and he couldn't force them. Which, again, did you not learn the lesson from WCW in giving your talent creative control? Mercedes?
We'll get to that, but I have to add to Dan's point.
So to finish here, that was money. Think that would have gotten you ratings. You could have dragged that storyline out for 3 or 6 months. There is no reason why CM Punk shouldn't still be in AEW right now.
Right there.
And why is it that they did this whole thing with the Young Bucks and Okada and didn't do anything with it?
That pissed me off.
They had this whole CEO, EVPs and whatnot, and they were doing this whole, we're better than you, or we the ones that control all this. And what the fuck happened?
Nothing.
It's like they literally went 6, 7, 8 weeks, and all of a sudden it was just like.
And then the Bucks leave and left Okada and Jack Perry alone
to do shit. Do nothing.
Now that Perry has lost the TNT title, what?
All the luster, all the polishing that they did with them, trying to make them out to be, this all of a sudden forming this little faction that they have with them being EVPs and having Jack Perry and having Okada. All of a sudden, it's like it was on this trajectory to go upward, and all of a sudden, it's like someone popped the balloon and it was fucking all the air came out of it. That was it.
Man,
and nothing else fucking happened after that.
I look at it like this, like with what Daniel was saying about the Bucks, like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. Shawn Michaels literally got his hair ripped out by Bret Hart in a backstage altercation, and Shawn Michaels, Vince told Shawn, "Get back here," and we did a friggin' Shawn Michaels Bret Hart feud. Like literally, the Young Bucks could do that, but also at the same time, like with what you're saying about Okada and everything now, and I'll say this in regards to the pay-per-view, you could have had Kyle Fletcher win because Kyle Fletcher did beat Okada. But we had to get the Will Ospreay Kazuchika Okada thing in because not only it is a great match, but their history in New Japan, and they had
why? It makes no fucking sense. You had this Continental Classic, and what happened? We got Ospreay versus Ricochet on an episode of Dynamite, and what? Ricochet went over, beat Ospreay, and what? It's like you're so fucking clamoring for all these matches to happen right away. Like, oh my God, look at all these matches that they had outside of WWE and AEW. Yes. Look at what they had over in Japan. Look at what they had over at GCW. Look at what they had at this company or that company outside of us. And what happened? They just brought them in. Not even fucking 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, they're in a fucking match together on a fucking pay-per-view. And for what? Did we need this to fucking happen right away? No, we didn't need to happen right away. Where the fuck is the build? Oh, well, they have history together. Who gives a shit?
Well, you know what the sickos are going to say? Well, it made sense for Will Ospreay to win because now we get the rubber match in the next pay-per-view.
You know what?
I'm sorry. I'm ranting.
I'm going to say it.
Yes.
And again, I hate to say it because I know I'm fucking right here. Tony Khan, and you mentioned the sickos, Tony Khan is booking AEW for a niche audience.
And for himself.
That is what it bothers me because you have so much talent there. But you're booking for a niche audience. To their credit, I will say,
and not expanding the company, and not. I get he's not trying to cater to certain people, or he's trying to cater to certain people, but he's also not bringing in new people.
And instead, I guarantee you, we are going to get Big Boom AJ beating Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Title.
Oh God!
And I am sorry, but then you may as well throw that fucking title in the garbage.
So you may as well not even have bought the fucking company.
You know what? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it because it needs to be said. Because I've got a feeling that this is the way that they're going. You do that, make it a non-title match. Have him beat Jericho non-title. Cool, fine. But if you put the title on him, then you are pissing on every fucking person that has held that title. People like CM Punk, people like Samoa Joe.
Homicide.
Tasha Morishima, James Gibson, a.k.a. Jamie Noble.
Homicide.
I'm sorry, but freaking
Daniels, Cody, literally any person that has held that title.
Low-key.
Jay fucking Briscoe.
Yeah.
Adam Cole.
Baby.
We'll get to him.
A guy, I don't know what happened to him. This guy named Kevin Steen.
Yeah. So I have to add on to the point. I love you guys for ranting like this. I love the juices flowing.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
To the Omega.
You are a sick bastard, and you like to get Paul and I angry.
That's all you like to do. You're fucking Tony Khan.
Let me get you guys angry.
And you just like seeing us angry. That's all you like. See, this is the only reason why you have us on this damn show.
Me and Paul are
people. That's it. DC. See, look. This is what he does. He brings us on these shows. He's over here. Yeah, just let him go. Let me stir the pot. Let me just put up this little dinky do little, and let me stir it up, and then boom, we get to fucking rant about shit.
So
okay, Tony McLarkin.
He says, don't take it back, bro. Take it back. No, but the point with the Okada thing is, here's what pissed me off about the continuity. I love the fact that Kenny Omega's back, but he comes out and he's just like, here you go, Okada. Here's my problem. They made a birthday cake making fun of his diverticulitis. They took this man out in the parking lot, and then you have Kenny Omega just go out there like, oh, here you are, Mr. Okada, sir. Here's your Continental Championship. And then the other
that you already hold.
And we have to now wait 7 months for Omega and Okada in Texas. Now, what the hell are we going to do before that?
Maybe.
But that's the thing. You ruin the continuity of the fact that the Elite took out Kenny Omega. And that even pissed me off. And MJF and Adam Cole, good God, thank God it's over. The fact that he wins.
Which, you know what? What would have made more sense? Have the Bucks come out.
Yeah. I know. But so they do MJF and Adam Cole. MJF wins. And then friggin' Adam Cole hits it with the diamond ring, and Roddy comes back. Kyle O'Reilly comes out there. So we have the new Undisputed Kingdom in AEW now.
All we needed was Bobby Fish, and we got the partridge in the pear tree.
MJF got beat up by 5 guys, literally. And it just giggity. And just please end it. And here's the problem with it. And I hate to even give him credit, but he's right about this. JD from New York said it on his thing. And I know I'm going the JD route. But he's like, there was a clip on Twitter of the Undisputed Kingdom, not the Undisputed Kingdom, I'm sorry, the Undisputed Era and Imperium from NXT TakeOver from the UK, NXT UK. And they're attacking Imperium for the Worlds Collide event. And they're so over. And now the allure and the feeling is just gone because I'm so sick of this. Now, where do you go from here with the Undisputed Kingdom? Can we finally be done with MJF? Does he go back to feuding with Daniel Garcia that we never even fucking finished? What the hell are we doing?
Tony has no idea what the fuck he wants to do.
He doesn't.
And you know what?
Yeah.
MJF, this is what you signed for.
Mister, I got a tattoo on my leg.
And you know what? This is what you did. You know what? Anyone that, you know, and honestly, there were reports that MJF is not happy.
No.
Dude, this is what you signed on for. You agreed to stay. And I'm sorry.
You're gonna be like Ray Phoenix. You're gonna be like Ray Phoenix, and you're gonna be like fucking oh my god, I can't think of his damn name now.
Wardlow.
No, what's his face? That's not doing anything.
Ricky Starks.
At home. Ricky Starks. Oh my god, I brain farted for a second there. Yeah, Ricky Starks.
That's right, Paul. We old.
Weald.
We old.
You are not old, Michael. Okay. Shut up.
Shut up. God damn it.
Shut up.
Shut up. Now, I have to mention Mercedes and Statlander. I'm going to play the clip because Paul said a beautiful comment under this. Great match, but again, if it doesn't build to Chris Statlander getting that final shot and winning the championship, then what the fuck is the point, number one? And number two, you have nobody for either Mariah May or Mercedes. Like Mariah May and Thunder Rosa was fine, but it's just another stopgap. And if this is another stopgap, we don't have Chris Statlander win the TBS title back.
I'm going to just say it because, you know, it needs to be said. You remember that line in Big Daddy where they said we wasted the good surprise on you?
Yes, sir.
They wasted Camille on this bullshit.
Well, yeah.
Arguably one of the greatest signings, and they could have pushed her to the fucking moon.
I know. It's terrible.
Instead, you make her Mercedes bitch.
Well, speaking of Mercedes, bitch.
She would have mollywopped Mercedes.
Oh. So
that would have been a good match, but no.
Speaking of Mercedes, bitch, this is from AEW blog, and he wrote, "I really don't understand why they hate on Mercedes Moné. She has been putting on great matches every time she steps inside the ring. Recently, 3 bangers back to back. She's working with younger and homegrown talent, putting others over. Her promos are improving. She seems super excited and happy in AEW." Why the hate? Why the negativity? So this is from the Breakfast Club with Mercedes and Charlemagne the God.
Did you ever go back to WWE? If they offered you like the right bag and they said, "Hey, we're gonna give you back we're gonna let you have your real name. We'll give you back the rights to Sasha Banks."
After the way that AEW has been treating me,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like I have the best relationship with AEW right now, and it's legit, I'm living my dreams, and it's the best place I've ever been, mentally and physically, and to be able to have new dreams after being in the industry for 14 years, it's the best feeling in the world. So AEW is my home right now.
So Paul Morales, Mr. Deadman RWT wrote, and this is his great point. It isn't a WWE thing, nor is it an AEW thing. Mercedes is just bland on the mic. She was never good in WWE, and since leaving, she hasn't improved at all. But let's be honest, it's the same character, just different company letters. If she changed it, then she may be interesting. Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
It is. She's doing the same entrance, doing the whole same, that whole jiving bullshit.
Yes.
It's the
same presentation.
Copy, paste, it's lather, rinse, repeat. That's all it is. It is literally the exact same shit you are doing. It's like, yes, you're not Ric Flair. Ric Flair established himself. He is an icon. Much like Sting. Sting reinvented himself. He was not that he was not that blonde, that beach blonde guy.
Not the
flat top, nice haircut, still had the face paint, but now it went from what it was to what he is now. He is black and white. He has the black and white face paint. Long. He had the dark black hair. Went all black, all dressed, all in black, long trench coat. Changed who he was, and he somehow progressed it beautifully. All we got from Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks, is the exact same shit she did in WWE. From NXT to the main roster, now in fucking AEW. It's the exact same shit. Exact same shtick.
I would like to
You're not fucking Ric Flair.
Charlotte
trying to
shtick.
And look at Eddie Guerrero.
Changed her shtick. Becky changed her shtick. Naomi changed her shtick. Like, I don't get it.
She's been doing
as a random aside, going back to that fucking clip.
Yeah.
You are carrying one of your company's titles. Make it look presentable.
Yeah.
Like, here's an idea. Take a little paper towel and just, wipe the prints off of it. Make it look nice. It looked like,
her gimmick has been the same, like you guys have said, since 2014 when she was in NXT to now. It's the same presentation.
10 years.
10 years. And she's still very meh. After all, I can say this: her and Bayley loved it. That was going on doggone 10 years now. Like, a lot of the stuff from her past, I was fine with, but now it's just like ever since she's exited WWE, she's just been whatever. She'll have occasionally a good match, but it's who she's working with that really holds it up for everybody, like a Statlander, like a Stephanie Vaquer, like whoever she's wrestling. It's just, I'm over it with Mercedes Moné right now. I'm really over it, dude.
Imagine this. Imagine if Mark Calloway stayed the exact same way throughout his entire career.
And the American Badass.
Would he be a badass character as he was? Would Mark Calloway? I'm not Mean Mark.
Yeah.
If he was still that Mean Mark character, would he have survived? No. Why? He evolved from the Undertaker, and he evolved that character multiple times. He went away, came back. All of a sudden, he was the American Badass. All of a sudden, he wasn't the dead man, but he was still the dead man riding around on a motorcycle. Right. All of a sudden, it was like this evolution, much like Sting went from one to another. Changed the music, changed everything. If she would come out, yes, Mercedes has had good matches, has had some great matches. I am not taking that away from her, none whatsoever. But if the character, if the mic work, if everything still sounds exactly bland and shitty, then nobody is going to be interested. I am so sorry for all those fucking people who believe Sasha Banks is the best fucking thing in wrestling. No, she is not. I can list 10 other fucking wrestlers that are outside of WWE that are a hell of a lot better than fucking Mercedes Moné.
Jordan Grace.
Jordan fucking Grace.
On the AEW roster.
Chris Statlander.
Chris Statlander. Camille is a hell of a lot better.
Athena.
Hikaru Shida. Exactly.
Yep. Just and I have to say,
I can list 10 women in her fucking company that are better than her.
Exactly. Speaking of somebody who's better, now we're back on the Dave front as we close
and
out.
just as an aside, here Mike goes again trying to piss you and I off.
You're welcome.
Fucking Michael. God damn you. I knew you were going to start this shit again.
And I got to make this point before I forget it, because, that's what happens when you get older, Mike. You forget.
Okay.
I'm reminded of that scene from The Office with Pam, where she says, "Corporate tasked me with finding the difference in these two images. They're the same thing."
I like that. I like that reference.
Like, it's literally, it's that meme. It's that Mercedes Banks, Sasha Moné, whatever you want to call her. They're the same thing. Literally the same thing.
Sasha Moné, Mercedes Banks. I don't care. Whichever way you want to fucking look at it.
Mercedes Banks sounds better.
Mercedes Banks does sound better. Absolutely. Now, speaking of someone that is better, out of all the people to school Dave,
and I'm better than you,
and you know it.
And you know it.
Speaking of someone who's better, I never thought that Dave Meltzer in my life would ever get schooled by Jimmy Corderas, out of all people. So Dave Meltzer put out a tweet responding to Jimmy Corderas, who responded saying that he responded to this gentleman who said, "Why would they pick the much smaller promotion with no stars that draws like 70K viewers on an obscure American channel? Maybe they see more upside in their brand as for saying no stars in an obscure American channel. Really, they have stars. Their online viewing numbers are very good." And this has to do with, everything that's going on with Canada and the network that TNA is now on, which in friggin' Canada is absolutely amazing to see. And Dave Meltzer wrote, "I think the issue is that it's not even rational, nothing against TNA, but there is not more upside. AEW on a weaker station in Canada usually beat NXT in viewers, almost in demo. Always beat UFC in both, and on occasion beat SmackDown in demo numbers, and in the past had beaten them in overall viewers at times. That's all in Canada. All of this on a weaker channel. Even suggesting TNA has more upside in Canada is laughable, but I hope TNA can do well with the exposure." And Jimmy Corderas wrote, "Dave, the point was not who has more viewers, etc. It's about those claiming that Sportsnet courting AEW, which is not the case. AEW reached out to Sportsnet about potential rights deal, and SN opted to go with TNA. That's all. It was just to correct what was claimed elsewhere." So Jimmy Corderas, fuck you, Dave Meltzer.
And I think this needs to be said. The time slot that NXT is now in on Tuesday nights on CW?
Yes, sir.
That time slot was initially offered to AEW and Ring of Honor?
Yeah, and Tony said no.
CW, Warner, wanted Ring of Honor on that time slot.
Yes, they did.
And Ring of Honor would have done damn well in that time slot.
Yes, they would have.
But
no. Because Tony said no, and he wanted whatever. Because Tony's a dumbass.
So instead, we don't have a TV deal for Ring of Honor. They're still on Honor Club.
Yep. It's ridiculous. That's really all you can say.
The problem is he is running booking for two companies,
AEW and Ring of Honor, and he doesn't have any help. He just books it all. He could take it all. Tony could take on the world.
That's what she said.
So two more things on Uncle Dave before we get to Tony in the press conference.
Before you go on, I sent you guys one inside of our chat. You could play that after this because he did make a good point on something about SmackDown going to 3 hours.
Okay,
that's kind of something I want to ask you about too.
Oh, absolutely, we can definitely touch.
Okay, now go to this.
All right, hold on. So what we have now here is also from 4FW Online. Jim Henson actually retweeted this and said, "Buy as much." And so this was what was on the F4W.
Not the Muppet guy, though.
No, not Jim Henson. No. So what he had said was, WWE drew 7,854 in the Kia Center, and AEW did 6,978 at the Addiction Financial Arena. So WWE drew more for a house show, but it was also barely half full for a pro wrestling full setup. AEW was just shy of a sellout, and usually when you come a few hundred shy, you announce a sellout. They at no point on the broadcast claimed a sellout. Of course, it's a house show versus a pay-per-view, but it's also a super hot company who is the market leader. When WWF did this many times, usually in the past, they'd run the day before rather than head-to-head with the WCW pay-per-view show. The WWF house show always outdrew the WCW pay-per-view show. It also would run late to tire out the crowd for the next day, so this was a different strategy. Yeah. Like, they drew more, let's be honest. WWE
look at crickets. Look, it makes no damn sense. I'm still trying to figure out why the hell this fucking matters.
Because even though they drew more, it's AEW. Don't you understand? It's AEW.
No, it's just fucking Dave. It's just look. It's just F4W trying to act like they fucking know shit.
That's correct.
I get it, and like Bully Ray said, they're just talking out of their asses half the time. So it's like whatever.
Oh, it absolutely is. And I mean, I look at it from a stance too, like this, because now we're going to play Meltzer Said What before we get to the press conference and we get some Denise up in here. So Meltzer Said What has written about Dave and what he said on his Wrestling Observer the day before the pay-per-view. Dave doing his weekly Friday autopsy of AEW, where he points out problems with the company, but completely dances around the root causes of the issues. He can never flat out say Tony's booking is bad. He camouflages critiques.
We can.
Yeah, we can. We're fine. Critiques with, it's like whatever, and WWE is hot. So this is what Dave had to say on the latest edition of Wrestling Observer Radio.
I mean, like WWE year to year, if you look, it's like the total audience is not higher than it was the year before, but from SummerSlam, it really hit at SummerSlam 2023 was this dividing point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when the over 50 audience of WWE went down, but the total audience stayed pretty steady, and the 18 to 34 went way up. And the AEW, I should say, they were pretty competitive in 18 to 34, especially 18 to 34 males. They were pretty damn competitive with Raw and SmackDown. They had no right to be, but they were. And then they weren't anymore. And so it's really, the SummerSlam 2023. I mean, the movement started in 2022, but I think that was like a real big period. You can look and go like, well, that's, when I mean, if you really look at the two periods, I mean, it's Cody's debut at WrestleMania and Punk's debut at Survivor Series. I think that took the wind out of the sails of AEW as much as anything, because when people talk about the booking this and the booking that and, whatever, the reality is the booking is not that much different. It's the same guy and he's doing the same basic stuff. The stars are different. Mm-hmm. You could argue that they had more over stars before, and they did, and some of that is because, he's doing, very clearly a rebuilding, and you're going to go down and do a rebuilding, and trying to make, Garcia and some of these guys stars. The reality is, and this is like one of the big things that I think a lot of fans don't understand, you cannot just, I'm pushing you,
mm-hmm.
and draw money. It's like, it's got to be the right guy. I mean, you could, in the old days with wrestling, it's like guys got shots in main events. If they didn't draw, they're not main eventers anymore. The guys who did draw, they're main eventers for life. That's how it used to be. And now it's just like, well, we'll give them a bunch of, we'll give them a push. And some of these guys, they're just not main eventers. You know what I mean? And it's like, there's not a formula. There's not a cookie cutter thing.
And that was from the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer.
Dave, you came so close to saying it.
I know. I almost heard it too.
And isn't it funny that he's kind of started to tell himself, almost referring to AEW as WCW.
He almost said it. I saw that. I noticed that as well.
And AEW is turning into WCW, and it's sad, but they're starting to make the same mistakes.
Yep. That's really all you can say. It's just we've said it many a times, both Paul, both myself, you, Daniel, like we've all touched upon. They're making the same mistakes. Dave accurately pointed out what is just wrong with AEW in a nutshell, and it's not going to go.
Michael, you said it. DC, you said it.
Yep.
I've said it. Rob has said it on your show.
Nicola said it. Everybody said
Nicola has said it. Moses has said it. Dazzy has said it over on Max. All of you guys have all said it. We've all stated it because we all see it. We're at that point to where AEW is literally becoming WCW. And it's not by chance. This isn't like this isn't like freaking what's his face is running the company. It isn't like Eric Bischoff. This isn't Eric Bischoff's WCW. This is what the hell is his damn name that nobody fucking likes anymore? It's Vince Russo's fucking WCW.
We go back to Jim Herd, even Jim Herd. That too.
Yeah, but Jim, even at the end of what Jim Herd did, it was pretty fucked up, but
yeah. But it wasn't as bad.
They were still a company that were generating money.
Yeah, not like then when Russo and Ferrara came in, it just went to the shitter.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, but when you're doing fucking the back of a parking lot of a fucking bar, is when you know you're fucking pretty much fucked up.
And the entrance to a theme park.
The entrance to a fucking theme park.
Oh, to be fair, those episodes of Nitro where they were at MGM Studios and Disney World, those were always good shows.
This is very true. Yeah.
I always the one thing I always liked was like WCW Saturday Night. Why? Because it was inside of a studio, much like the NWA when they used to have their studio in Georgia, in Atlanta, and they used to do it from the TBS Superstation studios, and they had like this big ass nice little lot that told them, here, this is yours, you guys go over here, you guys can create a studio, and they did. And what happened with it? It fucking worked for them for a weekly show. Why? Because they got to tell stories, do interviews, have wrestling matches, and that was it. Much to the chagrin of everybody who has knocked fucking the way NWA does it now. And it's funny because it works.
It does.
It really, really does work. I don't understand why. And look at NXT. Where is NXT at? At the Performance Center in fucking Orlando. And what are they doing every fucking week? Yeah. Is there 200, 300 people in there? Yeah, of course there is. Why? Because they can pack it every fucking week, and they know that it sounds amazing inside of it.
Yeah, ECW did it back in the day.
Yeah, 2,300.
So did TNA. They had their little center over in freaking Nashville.
Yep,
it's the exact same shit.
The fairgrounds.
It works. And what did they do? They had their pay-per-views there.
Weekly pay-per-views on Wednesdays. Yep.
That's why if they go back to Daly's Place and they can make it work at Daly's Place because it's their home. In Jacksonville, they can make it work. Much like they did during the pandemic. They can make it work.
Speaking of making things work.
And I'll say, not to interrupt, Mike, but I will say during the pandemic, AEW was the superior product, and we all know it.
Oh yeah, well, because they had the wrestlers and the fans kind of act like the fans that have more interaction than WWE started doing it. But again, if you compare apples to oranges and apples to apples, like AEW was mollywhopping WWE during the pandemic era.
And that's the truth.
It is. Speaking of the truth, I know y'all can see these shorts here from the F4W. I know we laugh at them just because of the thumbnails each and every time. Dave with the red sweater looking like Steve from Blue's Clues. Come on now, man.
Yeah, it's the one next to it that was pretty funny. That he kind of made a little bit of sense. But
all right,
to be fair, we'll get into that.
All right. So the one that you sent me to, or chat, that we're gonna play is WWE will burn out its fans with a 3-hour SmackDown.
We already saw what happened the last time. in 2014 when Raw went, or whatever year it was when Raw went to 3 hours. You know, it burned out the audience. Not right away. It was like a lag period, you know, like I forget how long it was, 6-9 months. And then you start seeing the declines, and the declines were pretty big. You know, and I'm not just talking about ratings declines. I'm talking about attendance declines, everything. You know, people got burned out by, you know, they made a comeback. People got used to it. You know, you had a, you know, it's not a death sentence. If you're hot, you'll overcome it, but it does burn people out. And, you know, so that's the deal. We already saw what happened the last time.
So your thoughts on Dave talking about the burnout?
He would love it. He would love 3-hour shows if AEW did it.
Oh God, yeah, that is so true. Well, that's the thing too. Also, to go on to your point, Shockwave. What happened with that? Fox did not want AEW Shockwave. Like he got
I will correct you there, Mike. I think they probably would have and did want it.
Yeah.
But they probably weren't willing to pay Tony Khan what he wanted.
No, and I mean, you can also look at the ratings side of things, like Rampage, like that's gone now. Shockwave. So the only thing we really got now is just
Dark Elevation gone.
Yeah, now all we got is Collision and Dynamite. So I mean, I don't think, and here's why I don't think that they're going to burn him out. We have a different creative with Triple H. We have exciting television that's compelling, the storytelling aspect. I think if Raw's going to be whatever on Netflix, fucking let's rock. And with SmackDown, with how they're going to add more to the show and show more expansion to it, it's not like back in the day when we would fall asleep through it just because it was so insufferable to get through these 3 hours. This is something that has become so good right now with this product that 3 hours, I can take it. I can take it and soak it in.
The other
but go ahead, DC.
Yeah,
it allows more TV time for the talent.
Yep.
You know, it allows more people to get used. Like you've got a WWE Women's US Championship now. You've got more there. You can build stories there. It's tough to do all that in 2 hours. It is insanely difficult.
Yep.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's 3 hours on a Friday night.
Correct.
You know how many people are going to be wanting to get out of the house on a Friday night just to be away, just to see something else. And it's not a Monday night. It's not a Monday night. It is a Friday night.
From 8 to 11.
It is the perfect time. Ain't got no school the next day. And some people don't have to work the next day. You know, and it's great. You can get people to come in and you can get people excited about it. What if Raw went to 2.5 hours? Forget that it's a 3-hour show. What if it went to 2.5 hours? No commercials, you know, and just little promos in between, you know, or little vignettes in between, you know, as to partake in commercials, to kind of break it up into commercials.
I haven't heard. Are they doing commercials with Netflix? Are they?
I think so. I think the way they did it with the NFL on Christmas Day, I think that's exactly how it'll be. Because there were commercials. Because there were commercials during it, but I think some of them, I think they had broke away for a little while, and then they came back and they were still trying to get everything adjusted on the end of the
thing.
Well, everybody was coming out, you know, onto the field, you know, each teams and whatnot, and they were doing talking about certain things that were the stats and everything. But it was good. I have to admit it had a really, really good flow to it. That's why I think having it on giving them time, like on a Monday or on a Monday, it's completely different. On a Friday, you have kids that ain't got to go to school the next day.
Right.
You know, if it's summertime, you know, most kids don't got to go to school during the year. So Mondays for 3 hours, yes, it would work. For, you know, people who have to go to work on the next day, if you move it up an hour, especially it being on Netflix, you know, 4 o'clock on the west, 7 o'clock on the east, it works for people because they aren't getting home all butt ass late. They aren't getting their kids butt ass late home. It would work. At least to me, it makes sense. Dave being Dave, Dave's just bitching and complaining just to bitch and complain.
You know what he is? He is the Abe Simpson. Old man yells at cloud.
Yep.
Fuck you, Cloud!
Fuck you, Cloud!
Do we not remember when Lashley chastised him at the last media scrum? We don't pay attention to that clown.
That nerd. Yeah, those nerds.
Yeah, we don't pay attention to that clown or that nerd or whatever.
But hey, the bootlickers, the AEW bootlickers, they eat all this shit up.
I will say this.
Of course they do.
Speaking of bootlickers and eating this up, what I ate up just because I laughed at this before I even played the two friggin' scrum clips that everybody's talking about, there was a botch during the AEW 0 Hour. So Tony Schiavone, this is during the 8-man tag. So it was the Brian Cage and Lance Archer and Leo Rush and Action Andretti against the Outrunners and Top Flight. And Tony Schiavone's phone starts ringing as he's commentating. So here we go.
Truth Magnum desperately needs to make a tag, and I have to guess, I don't think he'd be picky about who he's tagging in. As Tony Schiavone's cell phone going off, that's all right. As now Brian Cage,
Turbo Floyd eager to make the tag there.
as
Almost
Cage,
as eager as Tony Schiavone was to answer his phone as the Swolverine.
Tony, the world wants to know, what did Lois want?
I want to know what's for dinner tomorrow night. Oh, watch this. Look at, oh.
Is that what you wanted to know? What was for dinner?
No! I'm on
AEW's world.
So Tony Schiavone's phone went off during the broadcast.
That was hilarious. You have to admit, that was pretty hilarious.
That was very funny. That made me laugh hysterically.
And the fact that they razzed him about it made it even that much better.
What didn't make me happy is just for the fact that, and we'll do FTR first because Dax Harwood pissed me the fuck off. So here we go.
Very real situation and hits very close to home for so many people, and in particular these three Asheville natives.
If I could say something about Adam's injury, right? It's hard for me, I'm sure you guys know, to bite my tongue on a lot of things. And if I feel strongly about something, I want to say it. But this man is one of the greatest of all time, right? And I think we all know that.
No joke.
His career is what everybody strives to have when they start in professional wrestling. Just because he is who he is, or at the age that he is, why can't he go to the top of a cage and dive off? Why can't he? If he wants to do it, and he's Adam Copeland, and he's had the career he's had, why? So we have some of his peers, and we have some of the people that like to criticize what we do, and they ask him, they question him. This is Adam Copeland, or excuse me, this is Adam fucking Copeland. If he wants to jump off the cage, let him jump off a cage. And if he breaks his leg, he breaks his leg. Oh, well, we move on and we come back. And that's what we've done, is we've come back. So I wanted to say that too. He's a little too nice to say that sometimes, so I wanted to say it.
Leo with the wrestling.
What?
Just as an aside,
Adam,
like,
question is for
what
you.
is up with Tony? Like, look at his eyes.
I know.
It's that cocaine, man. It's that coke.
I'm gonna say it. The problem here, and again, hey, I will agree with Dax in that if he wants to do it, let him do it. But it's not can, it's should. This is a guy who was out for he got injured 2010, right?
For what? This recent injury or
No. 2010 for his neck.
2010, yeah, 2010.
Didn't come back till about 10 years later.
Yeah, he got injured in 2012 in the Brodus Clay 2011, excuse me. That was the last WrestleMania he was at, and then he didn't come back until 2020.
Okay, so about
10 years.
About 9 years.
Yeah.
You fought so hard to come back. It's people don't want to see you get hurt again. And it's not like you're in your 40s or your 30s to where, you can heal up and be back in like 4 or 5 months. No. Luckily, the break wasn't bad.
No.
The problem is, and some fans are cynical assholes. I'll admit that. Just for me, as someone, and you guys know, I'm an Edge fan. I don't want to see him hurt to where he can't get up and walk, to where he can't walk his daughters down the aisle when they get married down the line, to where he can't, he likes to hike in the mountains, where he can do that. I don't want to see him land on his neck again.
So I will.
Hey, jumping off a cage is dangerous. I mean, look what happened to Bronson Reed.
Yep. Look at Jimmy Uso.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You have to be able to land it. I get all that. But when he stuck his foot out when he didn't need to stick his foot out.
Right.
That was Adam's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Adam has to take responsibility for what he did. And he knew when he stuck his foot out, he said it, that he knew he made the mistake the minute that he stuck his foot out when he shouldn't have, and he should have just landed the way he had planned on landing. Instead, he second guessed himself just as he was getting to where he was at to stick his leg out. That Adam said that was his fault. He understands what he did wrong. There are, again, back to, this is dangerous. Don't try this at home. Yes, there are accidents. Yes, they happen. Yes, they happen. We know this, but they got to take ownership for the responsibility that they do. That's all I got to say.
So I'm not going to be very nice on this because this fucking Mark, I'm going to go in, I'm going to watch wrestling. I love professional wrestling. Why can't he jump off the cage, huh? Why can't he do this? This is fucking Adam Cole, my best friend. And because he's fucking 50, you fucker. He shouldn't be doing this. Stop it. You fucking Mark. That's why Dax pisses me off. Great wrestler. I've been watching him since him and Garrett Dillon, Jody Christopherson, and NXT. The rise of him and Dash Wilder Revival. Great wrestlers. But that is something that an indie-rific mindset of a Mark would think like. Okay, you have to think about others. And at that, he's 50. He doesn't need to be doing that type of spot at fucking 50. Okay? He's had neck surgery. He's had neck issues. Safe and spectacular. Not bullshit to please sickos. That's all I'm saying. And I apologize for the accent, but still.
Man, he yells at us about going on rants.
He wants to go in. We go and wrestle. I'm like, shut up, Dex. All right.
Remember, DC. Remember, he's going to tell us to shut up too.
And I won't.
I'm right.
Mike will tell you. I don't.
I'm right. I'm right. So
you could be.
If he does this and he gets hurt, then that's on him.
Exactly.
But I don't want to see him crippled.
Yeah.
No, I don't think and nobody wants to see him crippled.
No.
Nobody wants to see him jump off of wherever or of the top of a cage and all of a sudden hurt himself. Ain't nobody want to see that.
Didn't like it when Shane does that.
No.
Hell, I don't like it when Io Sky does it, but hey, she all of a sudden decides that she wants to put a trash can over her head and
trusts the trash can.
And she trusts the trash can. Yes.
Exactly.
That line though was just that was the proper response.
I trust the trash can.
But she's like, but it's okay because I trust the trash can.
Now, speaking of something, do you even want to trust? Look at this friggin' shot of this friggin' that friggin' mug, that facial expression.
Nerd.
Oh, Lord. All right.
Geek.
So, Tony Khan, it was a question from one of the Wrestling Observer guys, because of course it was. So, Tony Khan on AEW, bad faith negativity towards AEW. It's the biggest year in terms of success for AEW. Last year, we sold 81,035 tickets, set the world record for tickets sold. Even then, people tried to poke holes saying, oh, you sold 73,000. We sold 81,000. Even if it was 73,000, that's not bad. That's amazing. Then this year, the historic media rights deal. Here we go.
I just see it online, and it's difficult. It's hard. It's hard to watch if you're a fan of AEW to just see again a lot of the negativity in regards to and it's bad faith negativity as well. So
I think there's, like you said, so many great positive things. I'm really excited about all the great things we're doing. And like you said, it is the biggest year in terms of success and achieving a big goal in the history of AEW. And that's really saying something. Last year, we made a lot of history going to Wembley Stadium. We sold 81,035 tickets, over 81,000 tickets sold. We set the world record for tickets sold. And even then, people tried to poke holes in what we did last year, saying, oh, you only sold allegedly people said 73,000, but we sold 81,000. But the fact that people would even try to hold up 73,000, if it even was that, like, it would be a bad thing. That's amazing. What an amazing achievement to have the kind of success we had at Wembley Stadium. That's an amazing achievement. Then this year to make a historic media rights deal, which really sets the stage for what we were just talking about.
Oh, Tony. So what do y'all think about this? Because instead of addressing the negativity, he's like, oh, we did this, but we did that, the whole nine. It's typical Tony banter. You can't even say it. You're not even going to say it. Oh, God.
I'm not going to say it publicly.
Oh, God. Just, yeah, exactly.
Y'all check your phones. You'll see it.
God. I can't even, man. I can't even.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
We're going to say it on the phone. Yes, he looked like he was tweaking
Yes, he looked like he was tweaking out. Yes, he looks like he was tweaking out. Exactly. And I said this, and I said that we've said this countless times. Why is it every time he comes into a scrum, does he always look like he higher than high?
He is. He
there's
does.
a way that you could have addressed the negativity without totally, harping on it. You could have said, do we have our challenges as a company? Yes, we do. There are obstacles that we need to look at. And with 2025, we're going to look at those obstacles and see what we need to do professionally as individuals and as a company to overcome those obstacles. Boom. That would have been a good response.
Not
Not to dance around it.
Exactly. Or just go suck your toe all the way to Mexico, because he doesn't understand how to answer a proper question with proper professionalism, because this company, for some reason, can't take fucking criticism. And we've said it many a times. This one has said it, Mr. Paul Morales. This one over here said it, Mr. Daniel Crimmins. I've said it. This company can't take fucking criticism.
And it's not necessarily the company. It's also the fan base. It's the marks. Because the second you criticize their precious AEW, these Gollum motherfuckers, these who consider AEW their precious, might put up a fucking picture of Gollum when I fucking say this shit.
I'm gonna put it up when I edit this.
They consider AEW their precious, and the second you say one thing that's even remotely negative about AEW, they have to jump to its defense. Well, when WWE does this, you can criticize both companies. But the second you try and say, hey, AEW, this was the most predictable fucking pay-per-view they have had in a while. Was it a bad pay-per-view? Absolutely not. It was great matches. But at the same time, it was predictable as shit.
And as we get to that now, we got to give a shout out to that
Tony
girl.
Khan needs to step aside, let somebody else book the fucking shit.
Which brings us to what the thoughts of the main event were. We're going to get our girl, Denise. First of all, shout out to Denise. Paul Morales.
Shout out to my girl, our girl, Denise Salcedo. Fuck, Righteous Reg. I love you guys both. Thank you for having me on the meet and greet on Friday. Oh my God, that was amazing. I love you guys both. And thank you, Denise, for sending me a message. I thought it was the most beautiful thing, and it gave my wife and I a lot of love. Thank you.
We love you, Denise, and we love you and Righteous Reg. And we're going to play their thoughts both on the main event and everything with this doggone card.
So let's get to it. We're going to kick things off with the main event of World's End, which was, of course, Jon Moxley defending the AEW Championship against Orange Cassidy, Adam Page, and Jay White. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Reg. There was one thing that really bummed me out in this match, and it wasn't even the Adam Copeland stuff. No, I was happy to see Adam Copeland back. Good for him. They pinned Jay White, man. Pinned Jay White like that. I'm sorry, I did not think Jay White should have been the one to take the pin in this match
at all.
I felt like they made him just the match itself. First of all, it was fine. It was whatever. It definitely did not stack up against a lot of the other matches that we saw throughout the night. I would rank this one somewhere. I don't know, somewhere. It's not at the top though. We definitely got way more better matches in the night, especially the previous match that went before that, which we'll talk about in a minute, which was Will Ospreay and Okada in the finals of the Continental Classic 2. That was phenomenal. But this match, it was more so like a brawl. I think they spent a lot of time kind of finding it into the crowd. Then we came in back into the ring, and that's basically where we got the finish. We got Marina Shafir involved here. Jay White hit the switchblade on her and all of that, but it wasn't enough. John Moxley and his Zack Ryder guys helping him out to get Jay White get pinned, and John Moxley retains the championship, which we already knew. I think everybody here knew that, even though a lot of people had hopes that Hangman would win. I think we knew that John Moxley was getting the win. But after this, FTR comes out. And then, so I'm looking at this and I'm going, all right, FTR is out here. Cool, we like FTR, but where is this going, right? And then the lights go down and we get rated FTR, and Adam Copeland makes his return. Happy to see him back, man. Was there when he got injured. It was a brutal sight, that jump off the steel cage. Unfortunately, just an awful sight. But Adam Copeland goes out there and, joins up with FTR to attack on the Death Riders. And my friends, it looks like we're seeing Adam Copeland versus John Moxley, AEW Revolution. That's what it's looking like.
Yeah, it was the first part.
Hold on. You gotta love Righteous Reg. You gotta love his expressions when he knew. It was just the horrible part of of everything.
Yep.
The whole time you can tell by his face he's waiting. He's just like, when do I get to talk?
We're all going to talk about this horseshit main event in about 2 seconds. So here's the second part of Denise.
Reg, go.
And Reg, you look so depressed, bro. How are you feeling about this?
I didn't like nothing you said here. Like, none of that. I wasn't like, oh yeah, none of these parts. I was like, I'm out. This show ended with John Moxley, who hasn't been letting the world on fire at all. They've been rehashing the same fucking ending for the last 6 weeks. Fake ass NWO shit. This was filled with bunch of bloodline type bullshit. I was just waiting for Yuta to come down with the hoodie on. Bits. After the show we just seen and some of the best wrestlers, we're the best wrestlers, and this is what you're giving me. And you're telling me that you want an almost 60-year-old, however old Adam Copeland is now the new challenger for this young company that we're supposed to be building with Kyle Fletcher and Daniel Garcia and Will Ospreay and Mercedes Moné and all these incredibly talented people. But instead, we're getting WWE people that are rehashing old WWE bits. Christian Cage has to do with it. There's nothing about this that's redeeming. There's nothing about this that's this young, up-and-coming, revolutionary, hardcore company. This is not what this is. That's not the vibes that I'm giving. This is AEW. I got the vibes in this show. Some of the best young wrestlers in the world going toe for toe, bar for bar. But then at the end of that, you don't do any of that, and you're giving me this WWE bullshit. I didn't come here for this. If I wanted to watch fucking Roman Reigns shit, I would turn on the other show, you guys. You're an alternative to that. We've been seeing bloodline shit on every show. They end every show with that. Why are you doing it on your show too? What gives me the incentive to want to tune into your show when the biggest fucking company in the world is doing it already? You have to do something different. If it's the same, there's no reason for me to stick around. And you're doing it the same and not as well. There's a reason why Roman Reigns' shit worked, because Roman built and established this for 4 fucking years. People are up to this standard. This isn't that. You can't just force this onto people. There has to be a reason why people care. You give us 0 reason to care, and you're turning it into hatred. What the fuck is this, Denise? I'm very upset. After that great show, Mercedes and Stat destroyed it. They killed it. Okada and Ospreay, amazing. Kenny Omega came back. Ospreay had some of the best matches I've seen on this show, and then you give me this bullshit. Not fair.
Reg, I was just gonna let you go, man. you got to get this out there. You got to get your feelings out there.
I'm upset about it, Denise, because every week we'd come on this post show and I'd be like, you know what, John Moxley's just not that bad. It's pretty good. He got this thing in a briefcase. They're beating
You
people
were
up.
on board, Reg, those first couple of weeks. I told you, get your ass off this boat.
I didn't know that this was what it was gonna be. I'm like, okay, this is a good start, but then they just keep doing the same thing and keep doing the same thing. I'm like, oh, you guys aren't doing anything else. This is the bit, and if this is the bit, I want off this boat. Get me off.
Everything he just said. Everything he just said. Oh, this fucking match. All right. So I said it with Dan on the TSK review that we did last night for Full Gear. This felt like a video game match. It was just, we got to get to every single spot. The Jay White spot where he gave her the Blade Runner, which I popped for because damn it, goddamn right. And then, of course, he took the pin with the Death Rider. And I don't agree that Jay White should have got pinned all. It's just you're making Jay White's stock just continue to drop.
Which, you know what? Jay, this is what you signed up for.
Yes. And then FTR comes out. And then,
where the fuck are the guns? Are they hurt?
I don't know.
Austin Cole, are they hurt?
I don't know. He was with Juice Robinson, and then
I know Juice is hurt.
I know. And then they put him in this bullshit. And then FTR comes out with Adam Copeland, and then these motherfuckers, these sickos, are chanting "Holy shit" at the stare down because Edge said when he came in he wanted to face John Moxley, and you're welcome, we're gonna get it now. And then he made fun of him for being a kid in the pubes, and we're taking it all. And Christian's there looking like he's gonna cash in on Edge and be the ultimate opportunist in reverse. I
called it last night. I'm gonna say it again. And normally, you know, those times when you don't want to be right.
Yeah.
I am going to laugh my fucking ass off, and I will relish being able to say I told you so. When here's what's going to happen. Edge is going to beat Moxley.
Yeah.
And then Christian is going to beat Edge. And we're going to get that Edge versus Christian storyline again.
Like we did with the TNT title. Yep.
It's going to be the same goddamn thing that we have gotten over and over and over again. But, oh, hey, this is where the best wrestle. This is where the best sign wrestle for a couple weeks and sit in fucking catering.
So, Paul, what are your thoughts on Mox and Adam Copeland now for the world title coming up and all this bullshittery?
This is going to be the clip that I fucking make. Okay, so, Reg, you are so fucking spot on. The fact that you said everything that we have been saying for fucking months.
Yep.
And you said it all in 3 minutes. And I have to just tell you, you're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Because we knew months ago that this shit was gonna fucking happen. And if Denise had told you to jump ship and told you to get the fuck off, you should have got the fuck off, because there is no way, no goddamn way that this shit was not gonna fucking sink. Tony is continuing to do the exact same shit over and over and over and over again. And you guys, and you in particular, are now seeing what I've been saying for the last 6, 7, 8 months now.
That we've been doing
the beginning of the year, literally.
Yeah.
Paraphrase what you said, Paul. The equivalency here is the Titanic here, you know, and ship's taking on water. You get in a lifeboat and get the fuck off, but now, you know, people are saying, hey, the problem
is
the
band played on.
They are trying to turn this into the NWO meets the Bloodline. This is like when DC, not me, you know, not this one, when DC and Warner tried to make the Justice League into the Avengers within the course of what 2 movies, whereas Marvel had spent, when did we get the first Avengers movie? In like 2014, 15.
Yeah, but everything started with Iron Man.
Exactly, in 2008.
And everything started with Iron Man, and it continued to progress.
It took time. You know, it's like when you're cooking a meal. You just throw everything all in at the same time? No, you take it by steps. And they're trying to turn this into some bloodline, not. And when I say bloodline, it's not like family versus family. No, it's you're trying to have like the bloodline stable that is running everything. Well, okay, then why don't your guys have the World Tag Team titles? Why weren't those tag titles even defended? Why weren't they on the show?
I mean, to add to your point, like they're the trios champions, but the actual tag champs private party are feuding with Leo Rush and Action Andretti for a match that they're going to do on fucking Collision next week that they added on that was on the pre-show segment that they did. So you're not even focusing on private party, and they're the ones with the trios championships, the Death Riders, and they got the world title. But it means nothing just because they're trying to make them, like you guys said, NWO Bloodline, this dominant faction, pouring the friggin' bleach on them, friggin' choking them out with the plastic bags, and just it's bullshit. It's the same.
And it's like, why isn't Marina Shafir challenging for a title?
Because
why is she not my biggest issue is like with Mercedes Moné, why is she not challenging for the women's title? Why is she just sitting there with the TBS title? Are you trying to is it not supposed to be the mid-card title? Is it not supposed to be a title which elevates the people that are on it? If she is that upper echelon, if you are paying her this fucking money that you are paying her, Tony, to be a fucking mid-carder, then fine. You're paying her all this fucking money to be a mid-carder. For what? For what?
It was the same fucking problem when Jade Cargill was the TBS champion. They did fuck all with her.
Yeah.
You know, when
she should have been challenging, and she should have been challenging for the women's title.
When I don't know if they still do it because I don't watch TNA regularly. When they had option C,
for
the X Division title,
yeah.
Why can't you do that with the TBS title? Hell, with the TNT title, why can't you do that with those? Where let's say you have the title at up to a certain point, you can turn it in for a shot at the World Championship. Or say you have the title for like 3 months, 6 months, whatever.
Exactly. The international title. You got all these fucking titles and you aren't doing anything with them. They're not being showcased on any of your shows. I mean, not all of them are supposed to be showcased, but god damn, you're at the end of the damn year. Why is this show not stacked with titles?
It's not going to change when we get to 2025. Nope. This is the new norm.
No.
It's not going to change.
It'll get worse. It'll get worse.
They're
running out of lifeboats, folks.
They are. It's just it's depressing. I think.
Hey, Reg,
yes.
You need a lifeboat, and you need Denise to come and bring you a life jacket because it ain't gonna change. And jump off the boat. Stop trying to be with the band because it's not playing on.
We are at the point where it's just like,
and if you have to push someone off a fucking door in the ocean, then do it. Because goddamn it, I still say there was enough room for both of them on that fucking door.
Absolutely,
exactly.
The problem
die on that hill.
The problem is we're in a company that doesn't believe in change or growth or anything. They're just going to stay where they are, and it's disheartening for the Sickos. And it's disheartening because from its origins in 2019, even back at 2018 with the first All In, there was a lot of potential and excitement. I'll give you even better. When they were doing that friggin' presser at the parking lot with Conrad and all them for the Texas show, and then you see 2019 where they're in the parking lot with Cody for the first rally for AEW, and then you fast forward like 5 years later, nobody gives a damn, and nobody's hardly at that doggone thing. So exactly, this is where the fucking company is now. It's a slow decline that's going to be a rapid decline. It's not going to get better, folks. It's going to be the same shit going into 2025. And it's disheartening to say that, but you have to face reality on that.
I'm not, you know what? I said this briefly earlier. Putting the title on Big Boom AJ, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Big Boom AJ.
Is going to basically be putting the world title on David Arquette. But at least Big Boom was actually
actual wrestler.
Yeah.
Speaking of wrestlers, final thing. Pro Wrestling Awards for 2024, and they were. Men's Wrestler of the Year was Gunther. Women's Wrestler of the Year was a tie between Roxanne Perez and Toni Storm. Tag Team of the Year was Fraxium. Debut of the Year, Jacob Fatu. Breakthrough Wrestler of the Year, Swerve Strickland. Best Promo Artist, Drew McIntyre. Match of the Year, Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay. Best Pay-Per-View of the Year, WrestleMania 40. And Feud of the Year, Drew McIntyre versus CM.
Ain't no lie. And mind you, they didn't wrestle for nearly 8 months.
Right. And it's still
they had the one interaction at the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Punk got hurt.
Yep.
Drew but what was the best thing about this whole feud was the damn promos. Was every fucking promo that they had. Drew with the fucking shirt over here doing the peace sign on freaking CM Punk's grave. Everything of that feud this year was fucking amazing.
The bracelet, yeah, like Dan
They
said.
got us invested by a fucking bracelet and Punk's dog.
Yep. Exactly.
Tell me, they made it fucking work.
They did. And that's the best part of it. Like, you can even make it like promos work. Like, I'll give you another example. God rest
Yes,
his soul.
Tony, that's what you could do. You can make promos
And
work.
Here's the thought. I just had this thought.
Yes.
So, if I'm not mistaken, Punk's first loss since rejoining the WWE was Drew McIntyre, correct?
Yep, SummerSlam.
Yep, SummerSlam.
So Drew technically, since Punk never lost it, Drew McIntyre technically, for a period, was the AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
Yes.
And who did Drew lose to? Cody Rhodes.
Oh, Cody Rhodes.
Technically, is Cody Rhodes not the real AEW World Heavyweight Champion?
You know what? We gotta put that out there in the world. You know what? I'm gonna ask Denise that. That'll be a good one to actually ask them. Good job, DC. Good job.
Oh, but yeah,
clip this shit.
Yes.
You know, to take a classic line from Jade Cargill, which she doesn't have many.
Tony,
Paul, clip the shit.
Clip the shit. Oh,
I will clip the shit.
The best part is to add to the example with promos and how they work. When Bray Wyatt fought The Undertaker at WrestleMania 31, those promos that led to that made you want to see The Undertaker going to come back and destroy Bray Wyatt.
And wondering if he would.
Exactly. But that's what invested people. The promo work that Bray Wyatt did getting to that match. Like, that's what we say about Tony all the time. Tony, promo stuff works. Storytelling works. Not just, oh, here's Takeshita and fucking Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs is pissed that the Don Callis family hasn't talked to him in months.
Hey, remember that time when they kicked Will Hobbs out of the Don Callis family? Remember that? Now they're going to wrestle.
I was just going to say that because, Paul, I'm going to do this because we also mentioned, I'll say it to you, Dan, as well. Mariah May has legit no one else to wrestle after Thunder Rosa. Like, there's nobody for her before we get to Tony. So watch, Sky Blue's going to come back because, hey, remember that time at All Out when Sky Blue was in front of her hometown and then Mariah Carey, I'm thinking about Christmas. Mariah May took out Sky Blue.
Because all you want for Christmas is Sky Blue?
Hell yeah. So that's where I think we're going, is Mariah May and Sky Blue next.
I don't know. I'm so fucking tired of what he's doing. I do not want to hear that AEW has the best women's division in all of fucking wrestling because it's NXT.
Shawn Michaels has entered the chat.
Yes,
Shawn Michaels has entered the chat. I'm sorry, but I think we need to put that right here. Shawn Michaels has entered the chat because he wants to debate this, and I'm pretty sure he's going to win.
Yes. Like Roxanne Perez as women's
I will concede to that argument.
Yes. And Women's Wrestler of the Year, Roxanne Perez is definitely up there with Tony. That's a great tie. Jacob Fatu has had a fantastic year. Like, I love you, Solo.
I love you,
Solo.
Michael. I love you, DC.
Love you, Paul. And Dan. So, yeah, everybody on this.
Okay, no. Stop the show right fucking now.
What?
Mike, that was weak. You know, Paul and I, we put some heart into it. You can do better.
I love you, Paul. I love you, Dan.
That was better.
Thank you.
Better. You make
That's
all
better.
you
That's
make
better.
proceed.
Of course, thank you.
Proceed.
Match of the year. I'm cool with Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Every
can
one
agree
of
with
these I kind of pretty much agree with. Everybody
Yeah.
thinks it's pretty much spot on. Yeah. That's
And you notice match of the year had nothing to do with Mercedes.
But apparently she got like Sports Illustrated, like women's wrestler.
I don't understand.
I don't under. You know what? I'm not even going to argue with Sports Illustrated right now because they do some of the dumbest shit
I've ever seen. Yeah.
on everything that they have to do with wrestling. They it's like we want people to hate us. Let's do the dumbest shit.
I think for me, with everybody on this, the only thing I will say, well, Fraxium is a great tag team of the year, like we talked with NXT, of course, Gunther. The only thing I will say about Sturr being breakout wrestler of the year, Swerve's booking in AEW has really, pun intended, swerved, and the fact that he is now going to be feuding with the cuck, that is Ricochet, aka Andrew Tate, if we put him in a dryer, getting the Jimmy Rave treatment. Now getting thrown toilet paper at him, and now we're going to get Swerve and Ricochet in a feud. Are you excited for Swerve versus Ricochet?
But my thing is, you had MJF, who was your top star.
Correct.
You had Swerve, who was your top star. You were trying to make Hangman, which he was for a while, one of their top stars.
Yep.
John Moxley at one point in time was one of their top stars. If we look at the top of what just those four, then you had, oh God, who else? Who else was up there with them? You had CM Punk, which was now he's gone. You had Christian, yeah. You had Cody Rhodes, who has been gone. But literally, you had four guys who were your top stars. Then you brought in Jay White. You brought in Okada. You had Kenny Omega before he got hurt was a top star. But somehow it just seems like the upper main event division, or if there is a main event, a part of what AEW is, there is like maybe it seems like everybody who was in that top division has now just fallen out to be nothing.
Nothing. NUTTIN. Nothing. And it's sad. And I will say this, great list from ESPN Pro Wrestling Awards. Everything
absolutely.
In the right.
And
yeah.
Mike, if I can make the point.
Sure.
You had Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Both guys were not fans of each other.
No, and they work together.
You have Seth Rollins and CM Punk not fans of each other.
And they're working together. Cody and Seth.
They can put their shit aside.
Yep.
For business.
Look at Cody and Seth. Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle. They hated each other and they did business.
But that's the point, though.
Yeah, that's the point of it. Matt Hardy and Edge wanted to kill each other in 2005, and guess what? They did business.
Come on, DC. You got to have a point here. You have a point.
The point I am making here is that this is what happens when you don't let the talent run the show.
Yep.
Now, I got to assume the Bucks probably have creative control, but talk them into it. You had Kenny, who was down to do the program with Punk. He and Punk talked it out, and they were good.
They're homies.
Because they talked out what really happened, that Kenny was trying to get Larry out of the room so he didn't get hurt.
Right.
And that's all that matters really at the end of the day is that if you're willing to put aside every one of your differences to make money and to make the business work and progress forward, then do it.
Yep.
If not, then what you're going to end up having is a bunch of bitter ass bitches bitching about being bitter. That's all it is.
Exactly.
Plain and simple.
So the point is, be better, 20 people in 2025. And
look, we already know that it's going to be the exact same thing with AEW in 25, but we're just going to watch the ship just fucking slowly sink.
Yes.
And you're going to have Tony Khan out the helm being like, it's that meme of the dog sitting at the table and the house is on fire. This is fine.
And hopefully Rose pulls Jack's ass up on top of that fucking door. That's all that needed to happen. and they both would have lived happily ever after.
So with that being said, living happily ever after, that concludes our final. Well, thank you guys for listening to us over 2 hours. It's been a while, so we had a lot of stuff to cover. And we appreciate y'all listening to us. And
It's just because Michael talks a lot.
Yeah, y'all were ready.
And he tries to get us angry.
Well,
And then he tries to fucking piss us the fuck off.
Sorry, God, but no. God, give me some of your tots. But no, there was a lot of shit to be pissed off at, especially if you watch this week's pay-per-view. But goddamn, Tony, get your shit together for a better 2025. I have zero hope. I was going to say smidge, but I really have zero hope. But
I'd say 0.0000001.
And with that being said, thank you guys for listening to
right here.
Throw up the ones.
That one.
Thank you all for listening to the last weekly review of 2024. Before we close this out, I will start with you, Paul Morales. Where can we follow you on the social media front?
Name right down below, the Dead Man of RWT. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. Oh, no, not on Facebook. No, you can find me on Threads. You can find me on TikTok. And up until the government decides they want to take it away from us. But you can find me on TikTok. And, of course, you can find me here. And, of course, the RWT Facebook page, which will be in a link below.
Which you all should be members of it anyway.
Yeah, which you all should be members of anyways. And I did the exact same thing. I promoted all of us on Denise's meet and greet. So all of us are there. All of us were promoted. I told everybody to follow you, Michael. So DC, where can we find you, my dog?
Y'all can find me here. You can find me on the Instagram. You can find me on the Pile Driver Pundit. Did take a little bit of a siesta for that because, hey, work's work, holidays are holidays. Going to be coming back and better than ever. You have to quote the Eric Bischoff theme song, which
I'm back
and better
than ever.
I do got to make one final point, just because as we draw close to 2024, I found it ironic that as someone who grew up in the Attitude Era of the Big Three, WWE, WCW, ECW, the only one who's really still involved in the program is Paul Heyman.
Yes.
So I find it kind of ironic that in a way, ECW won the war. Paul Heyman got the last laugh. And you can't tell me there's not part of him that doesn't see this and know it.
That he does. And Dan, did you want to promote the Kicking It with the TSK and all that good stuff?
You can check out Kicking It with the TSK. We just recorded our review of World's End. Believe it or not, I was just as angry last night as I was. A little less so because I had a little bit of time to marinate on my thoughts. But
yeah, we weren't as angry as Righteous Reg. I'm sorry, we weren't as angry.
We love you, Righteous Reg. We were not like that fired up as angry as Righteous Reg.
Before you run off on your on everything, I want to thank you both.
Oh, thank you.
2024 has been hard for me, but I want to thank you both. I love you both so fucking much.
We love you too.
I thank you first off, Michael. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this platform. Thank you for having me on here. Thank you for being my partner throughout the year. DC, I know you came in latter part of the year. I don't give a fuck. You're still my boy. I fucking love you. I thank you guys. 2025, we will fucking continue to keep doing this shit. Michael, where the fuck can we find you at?
Thank you, and I love you guys too. You can check us out, SM Show 1 MCL92 on the Twitter, Larkin_92, Larkin MB on Instagram, StephenMikeShow.com and LFCfights.com for all your Stephen Mike and your LFC needs. Mike Larkin 92, we are at over 1,100 plus subscribers. Thank y'all so much. Check out the weekly review. Check out Uncaged. Dan and I will be coming back with season 5 very soon in the new year. We also have Deep to the Heart of Wrestling. We have Pop Culture History Podcast on the Mic with Mike. We have a lot of great programs on this fine YouTube channel, and we will be back with another Wrestling Roundtable with me, Paul, Dan, Moses, and everybody for more AEW talk and whatnot. So we'll definitely be back with more shows. And with that, we'll pay you. We'll touch you. No, we won't.
No, we won't.
No, we won't. Tony might.
Kind of awkward.
And then again, like I said last night, this is Tony Khan. It'll get a little weird. So with that being said, for Daniel Crimmins, for Paul Morales, my name is Mike Larkin. Thank you for listening to the Weekly Review. We'll be back in 2025. And as always, I'll pay you.
I'll pay you.
Bye, Angel.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up.
The past is gone. Now's the future.